back there that I know what you're thinking. You think, oh, well, you talk about, Tempur-Pedic being so. No, it has nothing to do with the bed. It's that I think subconsciously when I'm sleeping and the dogs stretch out, I think in my sleep, I kind of, do whatever I can to compensate and let them have the majority of the bed. Nothing, no reflection of the bed. It's purely my decision to allow, and some people don't. And I can totally understand why you don't have your dog sleep with you. Maybe Tempur-Pedic, maybe Beauty Rest, or sort of has, dog mattresses that, and dog beds that you can kind of put there, or just, heck, put them on the floor. They'll make do. Sleep Train is having their best rest event, but it's ending soon. Right now, 3 years interest-free financing on Tempur-Pedic and Beauty Rest Black Hybrid, which, if you didn't know, is that Sleep Train exclusive. Or, when you elevate with the movable base, you're getting good deals on approved credit with up to 36 equal monthly payments required. Plus, you can save hundreds on Tempur-Pedic Breeze, the floor models, while supplies last. Going on today, the best rest event at Sleep Train.
It's too bad we don't have Hillary here to do dog imitations.
Huh. Yeah,
it would have been nice a little in the background to have had Hillary barking.
Nice. Oh, well, that's a little bit on the shrill side, and I think when you're talking about relaxing, you need,
Yeah, that's true. Probably true. And your dogs really aren't shrill dogs.
No.
Yeah, they're bigger than that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Thank you.
Go to Sleep Train. You're going to find them in Albany, Corvallis, Eugene, and Springfield. Tell them Bill and Rob from the Wake Up Call sent you, if you're not too embarrassed.
That might be the nicest thing you've ever said about my dogs.
Thank you.
Wayne County.
Basically, what we're doing is using our land use laws. You're running again. Pay attention to all of your voters.
And the nation. Holloway in London. The Wake Up Call on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
It's simply because we've never talked about your dogs that much.
Yes,
other than the story you told about your dog that was freaking out because the smoke alarm was chirping occasionally. And I don't think I ever really said anything bad about your dog. I just laughed.
Later. Man, what I would not do to have that $600. I love my dog, but okay. 126. I was thinking, you know what? Today's going to be, mild weather, a little crisp right now, but the sun's going to be coming up. Maybe a potential great sunrise. Let's just make this a great week. All right, we'll just hopefully say this is going to be the one and done snafu of the roadway. 126 at milepost 41, 10 miles west of Mackenzie Bridge. We got a crash with delays in place, and you can pretty much, since that's kind of a narrow corridor right there, they thinking that it's going to affect one way or the other both lanes. So even if you're coming the opposite direction, just be ready for it. 10 miles west of Mackenzie Bridge, milepost 41. So it's not against Girl Scout rules having Girl Scouts able to sell cookies outside a pot shop, because pot shops didn't used to be legal.
Correct.
And now we got, and I bet I would venture to say that this crew is getting the attention, but there's probably people all over doing that.
I give the girl credit.
Absolutely.
It's like, well, see, right there is a smart little entrepreneur. Auntie Am, will you take me down to the pot shop, please? I need to sell some cookies. Okay. Thanks.
I mean, as that dialogue, gets repeated over and over and over, just the explanation for the other party that is clueless about why and what, and just the whole education. I don't know how that sits with me.
Well, okay. But my question here is...
I know what you're going to ask.
Yeah. Would you take Sid, if she were a Girl Scout, and mind you, Sid's a little young for that right now, but she'll be older. Would you take her down and set her up a table in front of one of the local area pot shops to sell cookies? Would you do that? It's
hard to answer because it's hard to... If it it may sound like a cop-out, but I think you kind of go on the case situation, like what kind of person they are. How mature, is this, because I don't think, you can't hide stuff and you can't, it's not like if we don't go sell, drugs and things are going to be introduced to her, because they are. You can't have that bubble around them 24/7. So,
but that's like, you could also say it's like going into the grocery store. Anytime you go into the grocery store, you walk by the beer and wine and everything else. There it is. At least she's not going. This particular Girl Scout is not sitting in the lobby of the pot shop selling cookies. I think the way I would handle it is I would wait to see if my kid brought it up. Because, honestly, a long time ago when I heard there was going to be pot dispensaries and when the law passed, I thought, snack shop, a little, convenience store right by the pot shop that specializes in chips and Triscuits and Hostess Ding Dogs and stuff might not be a bad idea right next to a pot shop. I didn't think about Girl Scout cookies, but if I'd have thought about it long and hard, eventually I would have probably come up with that. So, if the kid come up with it themselves, then I'd probably, but I don't think it would be something I would necessarily bring up to my child. Yeah. Hey, I got an idea. Let's go sell cookies in front of the pot shop. What do you say? I don't think so.
That being said, I'm sure parents are going to introduce parents of her friends and other parents that are in the environment are going to introduce things that, you might feel compelled, but I wouldn't do it just to feel like I had to. 55 degrees today. Going to be kind of a pleasant day. Right now, little on the crisp side. 38 degrees, News Radio 1120 KPNW. Something, hopefully, to warm the cockles coming up next on KPNW.
Join the Junction City Habitat for Humanity at Gunrunner Arms birthday celebration Saturday, February 27th. Habitat for Humanity will be collecting your new or used items for their giant spring garage sale coming up April 15th and 16th. You can donate everything from working used appliances to clothes, toys, dressers, tools, power equipment, just about everything, with the exception of upholstered furniture and mattresses. All donations tax deductible. Drop off your donation items for the JC Habitat for Humanity Saturday the 27th at Gunrunner Arms on Highway 99 and 36 in Junction City.
When you think fishing or firearms, think Mazama.
Local, family-owned Mazama is your fishing headquarters with brands like G. Loomis, St. Croix, Shimano, Daiwa, and a variety of locally made products tailor-made for this region. Team Mazama is eager and knowledgeable.
Plus, they offer layaway on firearms and fishing gear.
Pick up your hunting and fishing license while you're there. Conveniently located on West 11th in the same parking lot as Lowe's. Get to Mazama and get hooked on the good life. When you think fishing or firearms, think Mazama.
Every day is Black Friday. You have to see it at Creative Clock on Conger.
Want to lose weight? Then turn your body into a furnace that literally melts the fat away. That's exactly what Thermometer does. Thermometer is uniquely formulated with patented ingredients like bitter orange, brown seaweed, and decaffeinated green tea. Their combined thermogenic properties boost up your metabolism and turn up the heat in your body so you melt the fat away without any jittery side effects. Thermometer is not available in stores. It's only available to listeners of this station. We're giving away 100 free bottles right now to anyone who enrolls in our special trial offer. Call now for your risk-free trial offer. 800-430-4467, 800-430-4467, 800-430-4467. One more time, 800-430-4467.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
You don't need to get a second job as a stuntman to save money.
We need a new stuntman!
You just need feedthepig.org. Don't get left behind. Get tips and tools at feedthepig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
The most accurate forecast now. We have weather every 10 minutes during Wake Up Call on News Radio 1120. KPNW.
Starting out your work week with a little bit of patchy fog on this Monday, but that's expected to clear out by mid-morning. For the rest of the day, expect mostly sunny skies with highs in the low 50s. Light and variable wind throughout the day coming out of the north. Freezing overnight lows near 31 with more fog rolling in later on tonight. From the NBC 16 First Alert Weather Center, I'm Angelica Carrillo.
We'll do it live. The Wake Up Call with Holloway and London.
We'll do it live.
1120 KPNW.
This is boring as burnt toast.
21 away from 7 o'clock. 38 degrees. Radiothon coming up in a couple of weeks. Going to be here before you know it as we broadcast from Riverbend, a fundraiser and an event that I think is going to enlighten and educate not just us, because as we go in there and find out where things are at Riverbend and research in general, but our 15 as well, and that's coming up. Going to be here, like I said, before you know it, in March. Friday, there was a CMN event at Matthew Knight, and Sydney and myself were able to witness the crowning of a CMN champion.
So every year, there are CMN champion ambassadors from every state in the United States, and they all come from a Children's Miracle Network hospital. And for the state of Oregon this year, Peace Health Sacred Heart Medical Center gets to nominate a child.
We want to be able to help our families in our community that, help us on a regular basis, share the stories of what, help educate our community members about what we do exactly for Children's Miracle Network. I mean, without our miracle families, there's no way that we would be able to spread the word and the joy and the greatness that we do at our hospital for these kids without our miracle families.
Setting the scene for the big reveal, we're in a banquet room in Matthew Knight Arena. The Oregon basketball team has just finished practice. Coach Dana Altman and the players are all lined up, each one holding a special card. There's probably 60 to 80 people on hand. Hayden and his entourage are let in.
The guys are going to help us out. Help you with something. And then Reagan and Mateo are going to help us read it for us. Okay? All right. You ready? No. Okay, we're going to start right there. What does that say? You are going to D-I-S-N-E-Y. You know what that's spelling? You want to tell him? Disney World. We got pizza, we got pictures, we got all of it. All your friends are here. Yeah, take a look. All right, let's celebrate. We're going.
Alexa Sharps from CNN.
We nominated Hayden Conley, who is a 7-year-old sweet little boy who has gone through a whole lot in his life. He's actually had 11 surgeries and is just a trooper. And so we felt like he was such a deserving little kiddo to get to go as part of this ambassador group with all of the kids from all across the country. They get to go to Washington, D.C. and potentially meet the President of the United States. And then they also get to go on a separate trip as a family to Disney World as an ambassador for the state of Oregon, and hopefully just celebrate,
Just being a kid.
Just being a kid and getting to do something that they otherwise wouldn't get to do. So we're so excited for their family, and they're going to have an awesome time.
After that, the basketball team filed out. But Coach Dana Altman hung out for a while and was even seen chatting privately with Hayden and his family. The Oregon basketball coach is very involved with the Children's Miracle Network.
All right, Coach, so from your perspective, what just happened?
Well, Hayden is a special young man. He's been through a lot, and it's a unique opportunity for our team, to see someone who's really tough and who's really fighting, and it's just great for our guys. And I hope Hayden and his friends had a good time, because we sure enjoyed it.
Now, you could get involved with a lot of organizations, a lot of charities. Why CMN?
Well, it's something, obviously, when you go to the hospital and you see the young kids, it's something that really affects you. And when I first got here, they grabbed me and took me out to the hospital, and my wife and I were hooked. It's a great thing to see young people like this and to have them have an opportunity in a great hospital to go to. It's special.
Well, we had to hear from the little man of the hour.
When you walked in and you saw all these people, what was going through your head? What did you think?
That I was gonna get crushed over.
You were gonna get what?
Nothing.
No, say it. You were going to get what?
No.
Yeah. What, did you think you were going to get dunked on?
Oh, dunked on. So my daughter Sydney wanted to know how old you were.
7.
7 years old. What's your favorite? She wanted to know what your favorite movie was.
Bugs Bunny.
Oh, old school. Yeah.
Are you going to bug Mateo so he can tell you all the inside about the trip?
Yes.
Do you have any advice, Mateo?
No, I forgot everything about it because I was like 3 when I went.
Once again, Abby from Children's Miracle Network.
I mean, today was like my full circle moment in my job of
The Wake Up Call with Holloway and London on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Because of the look on Carrie's face, Hayden's mom, and Hayden when he found out that he's going to Disney World, and I don't think he's even really fully processed the fact that he's going. I think it's going to hit him probably over the
Hayden
weekend,
had
and he's going to freak out.
Mom, you think that's accurate?
Absolutely.
How are you doing?
I am emotional, but in a very happy way. I am so full of gratitude and hope and love to share our story, and not just the heartache, but the hope and the healing that goes along with it.
It was kind of cool to see. I mean, you had the Oregon basketball team open their arms, track town, but I think pizza for 1,000.
Yes.
I mean, you see a bunch of people, like the whole community, just kind of rallying.
CMN dreamed this for us and made this dream come true, and I'm just so grateful.
You guys are gonna have fun, aren't you?
Oh my goodness, fun like you would not believe.
Let's see, more fun going to the White House or going to see the mouse?
It will be equally as fun in different ways.
Diplomatic answer, very good.
Hayden had 2 life-saving surgeries in his first 24 hours of life support for the first 10 days. He's had a total of 10 surgeries and countless procedures. The fight continues, but there's going to be some pretty good times in the future. Have fun, Cumley family.
It's like the biggest surprise party ever.
The Wake Up Call with Holloway and London on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
So cool to see Dana Altman in a situation where, I mean, they're just coming off the practice court in which Hayden got to be, a party to that and hang out and play with the fellows. But you see him in his, his shorts and his T-shirt, sans the suit that you see during the game. And then the fact that, the team kind of comes back, they take off. And any other coach could have taken off as well. And yet Dana Altman stuck around and took pictures with Hayden and his family. And then they went off and kind of had their own little moment together. And you can kind of tell coaches and personnel like that are kind of going through the motions. And maybe it's a little uncomfortable, but you know what? It comes with the territory. I didn't get that at all from the coach. You can tell he genuinely wants to be a part of it. He's involved with CMN, and it was a cool situation. And hopefully, imagine a 27-year-old would be kind of overwhelmed. Imagine being 7 years old and coming in and having no idea that there's going to be all these people and the basketball team. I mean, thankfully there wasn't, a ton of, cameras and things like that. People had their phones up. But Hayden, hopefully sometime over the weekend, realized, hey, this is going to be kind of a big deal because they need, and I'll say the family as a whole needs this diversion, this distraction. Just reading about what he goes through and what he's going to go through for the rest of his life. He, for one thing, he's lucky to be here because you sit there and you read where the hospital that he started things out at didn't have it. And whatever, the equipment that he needed to have, we're thankful that, Riverbend had, and that's where you go, okay, CMN does matter. And so when you give your $10 donation or your $100 donation, that's going directly to save some people that are on this earth because of the personnel there and the neonatal equipment. It's pretty amazing. And that being said, Radiothon going to be here before you know it. It's pretty eye-opening, and you can sit there and you get the kids that come through that are now 5, 6, 8 years old that were preemies, and you go, God, you see photos of them, and you're like, that person is that person. That's pretty incredible.
It's too bad that most folks don't have a chance to take a tour of the neonatal unit, the intensive care unit up there. I mean, as weird as this is going to sound and as cliche as it sounds, it really is life-changing. You walk away with a totally different perspective on so many different levels. It really is kind of profound. If you ever have a chance to, for any reason, hopefully it's not because you know somebody who's there, but if you ever have a chance to take the walk through, my suggestion, do it. You'll be a better person for it. So anyway, we always look forward to Radiothon, and it'll be coming up next month. So hopefully you'll join us for it.
I see partly cloudy on the forecast, but I see pretty good looking. I think we're just minutes away from a pretty exquisite sunrise, or at least I'm holding out hope. We've got Kevin Mannix coming up, also Jerry Jez, 541-485-KPNW if you want to be a road ranger and help us out. This morning, if you should see anything right now, the thing that we're looking at, the loner 10 miles west of McKenzie Bridge, 126 at milepost 41, at the crash, hopefully in the clearing stages. Hopefully you don't have to get the hovercraft out just yet. 650 News Radio 1120 KPNW.
If you need to sell your home, listen up. Lars here to tell you about a real estate agent right in Lane County that takes the stress out of selling a home. I'm talking about Jeremy Parmenter of Keller Williams Realty. Jeremy has a marketing system for selling homes on a whole different level than anyone you're going to talk to in Lane County. Jeremy works with the top real estate developer in Oregon, and week after week, Jeremy attracts hundreds of buyers, which creates demand and helps your home sell fast and for top dollar. That's why Jeremy offers a home sale guarantee. If Jeremy can't sell your home at a price and deadline you agreed to, he'll buy it. Plus, it's risk-free. If he isn't doing his job after one day, you can fire him. But don't worry, you won't, because he outsells the average agent 8-1. If I needed to sell my home and lived in Lane County, I'd call up Jeremy. Call Jeremy today at 541-255-5685. That's 541-255-5685. And start packing.
Personal protection is an important issue. How do you make sure you and your family are safe? Out on a trail, taking a vacation, or just staying at home? There are options to give you a little extra level of security, and Oak Grove Guns in Santa Clara Square has them. They can help you figure out whether pepper spray, a stun gun device, or a personal handgun are right for you. They have all the best brands, including Ruger, Smith & Wesson, and Sig Sauer. But more important, they know what they're talking about without being intimidating. Oak Grove Guns, proud to supply products to responsible gun owners.
I'm Gary Conley with today's Money Minute. There's a large wealth gap in the United States. Not new news, but it's more extreme than people think, at least according to a study done at New York University and reported for the Los Angeles Times. The gap is also larger than at any time since the 1920s. And the research suggests the top 20% of the population owns 85% of the wealth, and that the bottom 40% have nearly nothing, with a significant number posting a negative net worth. And while I don't know exactly how wealth was defined, with numbers this extreme, it almost doesn't matter. Now, wealth or assets is somewhat different than income or cash flow, but even here there's a large disconnect. Half our people pay no income tax at all, and those with incomes in the top 10% pay a disproportionate share. But how, or even if, this should be tweaked is inscrutable. Here's the nugget. The combination of disruptive technologies that have made many people's skill set obsolete and the losses they've suffered in the bubbles of the last decade may sentence a good part of a whole generation that was comfortably in the middle class to something much less pleasant. If so, many will struggle for the rest of their lives as the United States begins to look more like Europe, with the attendant socialism and economic stagnation resulting from the government redistribution of income and wealth. I'm Gary Conley, and that's today's Money Minute.
Business owners, get ready for the spring season. Focus attention on your products and services with our famous radio auction set for March 12th. You'll get valuable on-air promotion, plus the full value of your items in advertising just when you need it. The auction is an easy way to get your message and products into the hands of the hundreds of thousands of listeners our stations promote to each and every day. To participate, call 284-3600. That's 284-3600. And ask for our sales staff for help. That's the radio auction, live March 12th.
We have a nice cast on the show, ladies and gentlemen, that consists of
Holloway in London, the Wake-Up Call. Wake-Up Call. News Radio 1120, KPNW.
Hey guys, watch my new bike trick. Whoa!
Accidents happen. When they do, Mackenzie Willamette Medical Center can help you get on the road to recovery faster. With the area's only 30 minutes or less ER service pledge, we will work to have you initially seen by a medical professional in 30 minutes or less. Less waiting, faster care. Only at Mackenzie Willamette Medical Center. Mackenzie Willamette Medical Center is owned in part by physicians.
You know the Tannerite Sports Outlet carries Tannerite brand exploding targets. But Tannerite here in Eugene is so much more. Reloading supplies, tactical gear, magazines, accessories. And if you're worried about finding ammo, Tannerite has bulk quantities of the most popular calibers that'll keep you shooting affordably. Need it and can't find it? Tannerite staff is going to help you locate it, even if it's something they don't carry. Yes, Tannerite's the home for exploding targets. But from tactical gear to ammo, it's the Tannerite Sports Outlet, just off I-5 across from LCC.
Do you dance badly or hug in public? That's okay. You don't have to be perfect to be the perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care would love to put up with you. Call 1-888-200-4005 or visit adoptuskids.org for more information. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt Us Kids, and the Ad Council.
Your KPNW weather brought to you by Mattress Mania,
where the side effect of saving like crazy may cause excessive high-fiving and a permanent smile.
We're heading for a mild and dry weather pattern this week with mostly sunny to partly sunny skies. Daytime highs will climb to the upper 50s to low 60s. Rain chances will be low throughout the week. The best chance for moisture comes Thursday with a 60% chance of rain. Otherwise, expect patchy morning fog and decreasing clouds throughout the day. Overnight lows will be chilly in the low 30s. From the NBC 16 First Alert Weather Center, I'm Angelica Carrillo.
It's the latest wake-up call market news. This is the KPNW Business Report.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. Stocks are rising as banks and energy shares lead an early climb with higher oil prices, adding to gains after the S&P 500 posted its best week since November. Right now, the Dow is up 178 points, or 1% at 16,570. The S&P 500 is up 22 points, or 1.8% at 1940. And the NASDAQ is up just over 1%, or 51 points at 45.56. And crude oil is higher by 6.25% at $31.49 a barrel. Shares of Yahoo are getting a lift today. They're up almost 2%. As early as today, the company will begin approaching potential corporate and private equity buyers as Yahoo seeks bidders for its core business. CEO Marissa Mayer is under pressure from activist shareholders after struggling to boost sales. As for the main equity benchmark, the S&P 500 is still down 10% from a May record through Friday and 6.2% lower on the year. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
The Seattle Parks and Recreation Department trying to figure out how to handle an issue that popped up earlier this month. A guy entered a women's locker room at a swimming pool facility and promptly began to undress. The women using the room alerted the staff who entered the women's locker room, and they ordered the guy to leave. Now, instead of packing up his package and leaving, the man told the staff, "The law's changed. I have a right to be here." Although he never said he identified or presented, that's the word, as a woman, the staff couldn't do a thing. New state law does allow people access to whatever bathroom they decide to use based on whatever gender they decide they wish to present. Now, if you think this is just a lighthearted example of unintended consequences, hold on, because later in the day, The guy came back and entered the female locker room again, and this time young girls were using the room, changing for swimming practice. No word on how parents reacted after they learned that their young daughters, undressing, had to share a locker room with this guy. Now, I predicted this would happen, and now it has happened, and it's going to continue, and it's going to get worse. Because there are some guys, especially teenagers with raging hormones, and some perverts out there who will view these new transgender rules as a gift from the heavens, when in fact, it's just a bunch of more stupidity from liberals trying to be fair, and this is what we get. Protecting your most valuable data, family photos, videos, is crucial. Ask anyone who's lost everything on their computer. We rely on iDrive Online Backup to safely and securely back up our data automatically with full confidence that iDrive is industry best. iDrive is easy to use and affordable using military-grade encryption that is key to safeguarding your data. iDrive plans start at just $5 a month. Sign up today, get 50% off using the promo code RUSH. Get the best, folks. Get iDrive.com.
Faith leaders everywhere are filled with praise for the young Messiah. Dr. Ted Baer calls it an exhilarating family experience.
You seek a family from Nazareth with a boy named Jesus.
Focus on the Family calls it a remarkable movie.
Why did God choose me? What if I'm not strong enough?
And Hugh Hewitt raves it's a spectacular movie that should not be missed.
He's just a child.
He is not just a child. The Young Messiah, rated
Radio 1120 KPNW, Eugene, Springfield, USA.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony. An empty seat is all draped in black at the Supreme Court, where the flag remains at half-staff as the 8 justices meet for the first time since Antonin Scalia died. And they'll get back to work hearing 2 new cases.
The first argument deals with whether a veteran-owned business should have been given preference for a federal contract as part of a 2006 law. The second case focuses on the Fourth Amendment and what evidence can be used when police question a potential suspect. The court's 8 justices will hear the arguments, and no telling how many more, since key Senate leaders vow to hold over any nominee until a new president is in office. In Washington, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Apple keeps fighting a court order to let the government hack into a dead terrorist's iPhone. Fox's Rachel Sutherland, live in Washington.
Dave, Apple CEO Tim Cook says helping the FBI crack into San Bernardino killer Sarah Farouk's iPhone would create backdoor software with the potential to unlock any iPhone in someone's physical possession. In a morning email to employees, Cook said cooperating in this case would set a dangerous precedent. He also says while the government may argue the backdoor software would be limited to this case, there's no way to guarantee such control. The FBI says Apple owes it to the victims of the shootings to cooperate. Dave.
Rachel, people still can't believe it in Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Something needs to be done. This keeps happening, and this can't keep happening.
Police still looking for a motive in Saturday shootings that left 6 dead and 2 injured. A 14-year-old girl remains in critical condition. The suspect, Jason Dalton, goes to court today. He had no criminal history. Republicans caucus tomorrow in Nevada, where Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio are vying for the anti-Trump presidential votes.
We're the only campaign that has beaten Donald Trump.
The Democrats do not want to run against me.
Trump leads the Nevada polls after winning the South Carolina and New Hampshire primaries. There's a big rally going on Wall Street to start the week. The Dow is up 206 points. This is Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Chris with Home Comfort. When we say the one to call,
the one means no matter what the problem.
From security lighting, generator systems, panel changeouts, service upgrades, with technicians available 24/7.
Or HVAC, from routine cleanings to breakdowns. Home Comfort's an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer. So our highly skilled technicians will ready your house for any season.
Make one call to 541-345-2838.
Home Comfort, the one to call.
Join the Junction City Habitat for Humanity at Gunrunner Arms birthday celebration Saturday, February 27th. Habitat for Humanity will be collecting your new or used items for their giant spring garage sale coming up April 15th and 16th. You can donate everything from working used appliances to clothes, toys, dressers, tools, power equipment, just about everything, with the exception of upholstered furniture and mattresses. All donations tax deductible. Drop off your donation items for the JC Habitat for Humanity Saturday the 27th at Gunrunner Arms on Highway 99 and 36 in Junction City.
Our stocks surging on Wall Street. Fox Business Network's Nicole Pedalini's live at the New York Stock Exchange.
As oil continues to surge globally, we're still stocks up in Asia, in Europe, and right here in the States, tacking on to last week's gains. The Dow is up 215 points, the Nasdaq up 64, the S&P 500 up 26. All 10 sectors are higher, led by energy, materials, and consumer stocks. All 30 Dow stocks are higher. United Health and Intel are winners. We're seeing lumber liquidators down 20%, concerns about cancer risks in the flooring. Yahoo gains as there's talk that there are possible bidders. Dave.
Thank you, Nicole. Now, you mentioned oil. It's really going up this morning, nearly $2, back over $31 a barrel as gas keeps getting cheaper, down another nickel the past 2 weeks.
It may be that this national average price of $1.77 is, in fact, the low, and from here we may come up a little bit.
Analyst Tripoli Lundberg surveys stations nationwide, and so does AAA. Its average is 6 cents less than hers, $1.71 a gallon. At the movies,
another strong weekend for a record-breaking R-rated film about a foul-mouthed superhero.
Looked like an avocado had sex with an older avocado. Thank you.
Deadpool making another $55 million at the domestic box office, $491.1 million in North America and overseas so far. Kung Fu Panda 3 again in second place, making $12.5 million, opening third.
When the Messiah comes, Rome will be nothing.
Risen about a Roman soldier investigating the death and resurrection of Jesus made $11.8 million. Jane Metzler, Fox News.
It was a race for the ages. Denny Hamlin won yesterday's Daytona 500 by 100th of a second in a photo finish.
I don't know what happened. I can't even figure out what I did.
He surged from fourth on the final lap to overtake Martin Truex Jr. in NASCAR's first and biggest race of the season. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News Radio.
He didn't even know that he had won. Last 20 to 30 seconds, pretty amazing. 11:20 KPNW, partly cloudy today, 55 for the high, they're saying. Some clear skies and a little bit of cloud cover tonight, low of 30. A little bit of fog in there as well. Near 60 tomorrow, 60 the next day. Pretty mild temperatures all week long. 39 degrees right now at 11:20 KPNW. So we had the situation east of Eugene Springfield on 126, and now we're going west. 126 milepost 41, 1 mile west of No Time. We've got a crash that has the trickling in traffic, although as it backs up or takes a while to get through with the congestion, it does provide something that you should allow for. So take an alternate route if you can by chance find one, or just know milepost 41 and have a little bit of a slowdown. Got a restaurant in France. So the guy apparently, and the restaurant it's made the Michelin Guide. Did more than $300,000 in business. The movie stars eat there apparently. He went to the bank for a $61,000 loan to start a second location. They said no. Went to another one. Went to another one. Went to a series of banks, and they all said, not going to happen. So now he's getting his revenge by banning all bankers from eating at his restaurant. There's a sign that says, dogs welcome, bankers banned, unless they pay the fee of 70,000 euros, which works out to be about $77,000. So unless you know every single banker that is in town there, how do you endorse that? I mean, how do you even enforce that?
Have no idea. Obviously making a statement, but I have no idea. Maybe what you do is you have like some sort of, your folks in there. By the way, if you notice, you give a little reward. If you notice a banker, point them out.
You get your meal comped.
Right.
Something
you
like
get a comp
that.
meal for every banker you point out.
Pretty
that
funny.
Works.
Okay, so coming
Glad
up,
we got that squared away.
Kevin Mannix and Jerry Jesfold, some X's and Z's coming up in names and also the news.
Yeah, we'll have these stories in just a matter of moments. We'll tell you about what the legislature has been up to, some bills that have passed, one that's going to the governor that's going to affect, local microbrews. We'll also take a look at a high-speed chase in Springfield that they're still looking for the person behind the wheel, and a strange arrest in Lynn County that could be connected to Lane County. Those stories and more are coming up, brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones, here on KPNW.
7:08.
In the morning, when you're on the run, stop and eat at Burrito Amigos. One of Burrito Amigos' little-known facts is that you can get the Burrito Amigos breakfast platter. Once you've ordered it, you need to start making decisions. Are you going to have bacon, link sausage, chorizo, or chili verde? And how are those eggs going to be cooked? Over easy, scrambled, kind of hard, sunny side up, or some other way? Then you wait a minute or so, and it's all served up with potatoes, cheese, beans, and corn tortillas. Once someone smiling delivers the Burrito Amigos platter, it's breakfast on. It's a quick, tasty, inexpensive sit-down meal. It's only $7.50, or do it meatless for $6.50 if you want to get all vegetarian first thing in the morning. Since their name is Burrito Amigos, a big old breakfast burrito isn't out of the question, with your choice of bacon, sausage, chorizo, machaca, or huevos rancheros in junior or adult size. As Burrito Amigos' biggest fan, I vote adult, the large one. It holds more bacon. Burrito Amigos in Springfield and Eugene. Stop and eat breakfast. I'm Bill London, Burrito Amigos fan, and I approve this message.
Built for business. Comcast Business is offering 25 megabits per second internet from $69.95 a month. That means if you're still using slow DSL from the phone company, you have a decision to make. Do you switch to Comcast Business and get more speed for faster downloads, or stick with slow DSL and watch your business stutter from slow speeds? Do you get internet that stays fast when other people are online, or keep using slow DSL and have your employees struggle with lag time? The choice is yours. Switch to Comcast Business and get 25 megabits per second of fast, reliable internet from just $69.95 a month. Or stick with slow DSL and get slower speeds and more downtime at work. Make the smarter choice. Ditch slow DSL and switch today. Call 800-501-6000 or visit ComcastBusiness.com. Comcast Business. Built for business.
Offer ends 3/31/16. Restrictions apply. 2-year contract and subscription to Comcast Business Voice and Business TV required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra.
It's the big happenings in the Valley and the state. This is the Wake Up Call on 1120 KPNW with Bill London.
Good morning. This look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones, featuring great breakfast burritos and fresh brewed locally roasted coffee for a tasty start to your morning. Here's what's going on. The Lynn County Sheriff's Office arrested 42-year-old Ivan Page of Halsey yesterday for several sexual abuse-related crimes. Now, Page literally walked into Lynn County Sheriff's Office on his own and requested to talk to a deputy about his alleged crimes. Page then told investigators he sexually abused 4 underage girls over the course of several years. Page is now lodged in the Lynn County Jail on 5 counts of sex abuse in the first degree. The investigation is ongoing, but investigators say it could lead to additional charges in Marion and Lane counties. Springfield police are still searching for a man accused of leading police on a high-speed pursuit in a stolen car. The suspect's been on the lam since Saturday night. The pursuit started in Springfield, where police said he reached speeds close to 100 miles an hour. It ended about 10 minutes later near the U of O campus when the subject ditched the car and ran. Springfield police initially tried to pull the car over because it had a badly bent license plate. An officer tried to get the vehicle to pull over near Hayden Bridge Way and Pioneer Parkway West. The driver, who's now identified as 31-year-old Ryan Bird, tore off, leading the officers on a pursuit to 16th Avenue and Ferry Street in Eugene. That's where Bird apparently ditched the vehicle and ran. Several streets were blocked off during the search Saturday night, and police brought in a canine to help find Bird. They were unable to do so. They say that Bird is not considered to be a danger to the community. While the Oregon legislature has passed a minimum wage bill, Brad Ford reports the fight is not over.
Justin Norton Kurtzen's an organizer of the petition effort to put a $15 an hour minimum wage bill on November's ballot. The bill headed to the governor is not as much as he wants.
It's too low and it's too slow.
His measure would have one rate and gets there in half the time of the legislature's bill.
Our bill phases in a statewide $15 minimum wage in 3 years, so by 2019.
They have collected half the signatures they need to get the measure on the ballot, and they're continuing to collect signatures. They're also watching developments in Salem to see whether another proposal emerges that might be closer to what they'd like to see. Brad Ford, KPNW.
Well, a bill in the Oregon legislature would give counties a way to help the families of first responders who were killed in the line of duty. State Senator Fred Girod says first responders like police and firefighters lead dangerous lives.
These people put their lives on the line, and every day they don't know if it will be their last.
A bill that passed the Oregon Senate would allow counties to waive property taxes up to an assessed value on a home of $250,000. Gerard says the financial help could make a big difference.
This is hard on their families, it's hard on them, and this is just a way of showing respect.
The bill passed the Senate unanimously and it moved to the House. Oregon breweries are going to be able to expand their operations under a bill passed by the Oregon legislature. Brad Ford reports it had very little opposition.
This bill allows breweries to sell more products directly to consumers. Senator Floyd Przansky says it helps brewers and the OLCC.
It will, in fact, allow for what is currently occurring with multiple licenses to be done basically under one license.
A brewery could sell beer, wine, and cider, and they could come from various manufacturers. Nikos Ridge with Ninkasi Brewing says it simplifies the process and expands opportunities.
The manufacturing, the wholesale, and the retail tier.
It allows brewers to continue sales through third-party distributors while allowing customers to buy directly from their locations. Brad Ford, KPNW.
The Pacific Northwest could become a major hub for methanol production if 3 proposed refineries are built along the Columbia River and in Puget Sound. A China-backed consortium, Northwest Innovation Works, has proposed a pair of plants in Washington and a third in Oregon to convert natural gas to methanol, which would then be shipped to China to make plastic. But those plans are running into opposition. Friday, the company temporarily put its Tacoma, Washington project on hold, saying it's been surprised by the vocal opposition. Supporters say the projects would create jobs and bring billions of dollars to the region, but opponents raise concerns about environmental and health impacts. Over 1,000 people attended a hearing this month on the proposed Tacoma refinery that would produce about 20,000 metric tons a day. The sheriff of Grant County is under state investigation for his relationship with the Malheur Wildlife Refuge occupiers. The department that certifies officers has received at least 8 complaints about Sheriff Glenn Palmer. He's accused of sharing government plans and tactics with the militia. Eric Gablix with the Department of Police Standards says it could cost Palmer his law enforcement certification.
They appear to be very serious and require that we look into them, and we've asked the Oregon Department of Justice to conduct the investigation on our behalf.
Sheriff Palmer is not commenting on the investigation. It's not known how long it'll take to complete. Nearly a fourth of Oregon's medical marijuana dispensaries selling the drug recreationally are not registered to pay taxes on those sales. Dispensaries have until February 29th to pay a 25% sales tax on January recreational marijuana sales. On Friday, about 245 out of 325 dispensaries selling recreational pot had actually set up accounts with the State Department of Revenue. Revenue spokesman Joy Krasik says the department expects an upswing in registrations as the deadline nears. Many medical marijuana dispensaries are temporarily selling the drug for recreational use. Licenses for those looking to sell recreational pot alone are not going to be issued until the fall. Tax reminders are mailed to recreational marijuana dispensaries about a month ago. Well, the recent discovery of toxic pollution hotspots in Portland came almost as an afterthought. The 2 U.S. Forest Service researchers who studied tree moss samples from around the city were primarily interested in testing for pollution from wood smoke and car exhaust. One of the researchers, Jeffrey Donovan, wasn't keen on the idea of testing for carcinogenic heavy metals, but his colleague, Sarah Jovan, convinced him, in part because it's a relatively cheap test to do. Well, they expected to see cadmium pollution in northeast Portland, where there's facilities that use the metal. But as they compiled a map showing their research, they found extremely high levels in other parts of the city, mostly near 2 stained glass manufacturers. State environmental regulators have been under heavy fire ever since making news of the pollution public on February 3rd. The reason they're catching flack? Well, they knew 8 months earlier. Cross-laminated timber products promise to revolutionize construction in the U.S. and potentially breathe new life into Oregon's wood products industry.
The larger Pacific Northwest region is well positioned to produce at least a quarter of the global output of CLT.
Lech Muzinski with OSU's College of Forestry says the massive panels are strong enough to be used for walls, floors, and roofs. They're sustainable, they're cost-effective, and a great alternative for steel and concrete high-rises.
The Southern Oregon company is the first certified producer in the U.S. It's D.R. Johnson Products, but within 5 years, Muszynski expects the industry to take off all over the Northwest. Well, once again, Oregon is among the nation's leaders in several types of vegetable production. Brad Ford says the USDA's National Agricultural Statistics Service has released its annual summary of U.S. veggie production, and the numbers are actually pretty impressive.
Oregon ranks 6th of all states in the production of fresh market veggies and 9th in value. For processed vegetables, Oregon's 5th in both production and value. Eric Garman with the Oregon Department of Agriculture says even though processing's a major destination for the state's veggies, there's also a strong fresh market.
The wide array of vegetables we grow is another example of our tremendous diversity in Oregon.
Oregonians have increased their appetite for locally grown food, which bodes well for growers.
It's not just that we grow these vegetables, it's also that we're the leading state in production for many of these vegetables.
Many consumers and most growers believe Oregon veggies rank number 1 in quality. Brad Ford, News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Federal and local investigators are asking for the public's help to identify additional victims after a Portland area school district employee was arrested on child pornography charges. The Clackamas County Sheriff's Office says James McLaughlin worked with special needs kids. He was arrested Friday. He's expected to make his initial appearance in federal court this morning. Federal prosecutors say McLaughlin was charged with 1 count of producing child pornography. He was suspended by the school district February 16th. Prior to that suspension, he worked with a small number of developmentally disabled kids as an adaptive physical education instructional assistant. His arrest came 2 days after agents with the Interagency Child Exploitation Prevention Task Force searched his home and seized laptop computers and other items. Well, the Navy is naming a ship after the Rose City. It's called the USS Portland. Captain Darren Plath says it's a San Antonio-class amphibious troop transport.
680 feet long, 106 feet wide, carries a crew of 381 sailors and about 699 Marines.
The ship is being built in Pascagoula, Mississippi. It's about 70% complete. It's now in the water. It'll be completed by next summer and ready for sea trials before it's delivered to the Navy. And a Girl Scout is selling boxes of cookies outside of a shop in Portland. No big deal there until you hear that it's, well, a pot shop. And she's hoping to raise money for a summer trip to horse camp. She was selling under the supervision of her aunt, who said that they came up with the idea of selling outside Foster Bud's marijuana dispensary. The aunt said that they had a lot of customers within a few minutes of setting up the table. The Girl Scouts organization says they don't condone this, but it's not against the rules. An employee at the shop said it was great to partner with the kids and help them reach their goals. A salesperson for the Girl Scout, or a spokesperson for the Girl Scouts of Oregon and Southwest Washington, says, quote, they recommend that if a minor cannot enter a premises unaccompanied, they should not sell Girl Scout cookies in front of the premises, unquote. It's 7:21. This look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones on KPNW.
Wake Up Call Sports on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Wheeler going to pass? No. Oh, he knows his career high. He just tied it. Lillard was looking for the ball. And there it is. And the fans want Lillard to get 50. A deeper three. Yes, sir.
Damian Lillard did throw down 51 points to be precise on Friday, the first player of the weekend to score 50 or more. He also added 7 assists and a career-high 7 steals. And what makes it even more unimaginable, it was against the Golden State Warriors. Lillard surpassed his previous career high of 43 in a crushing win over the Warriors, 137-105. The Blazers, Lillard in particular, dismantled the team who had lost only 4 games going into the affair Friday night. For those that feared there would be a letdown, Blazers pulled out a 115-111 game. After that, overcame a 13-point deficit against Utah in the third quarter to win the game. Damian still hot, 30, but C.J. McCollum had 31. A weekend for 50s as Anthony Davis scored a franchise record 59 for the Pelicans, pulled down 20 rebounds, one of only 3 players to score 55-plus and have 20 rebounds or more in a game. The other 2, a guy named Shaq and a guy named Wilt. Pelicans chopped down the Pistons 111-106. Oregon men's basketball at Eugene's. Matthew Knight, round 2 of the Civil War. This one goes to the Ducks and Tyler Dorsey. OSU manages to make it respectable in the end, but Oregon nets a 91-81 victory in front of 12,364. OSU women, the number 7 Beavers fend off number 12 UCLA, 64-54 to extend their winning streak to 14. Ducks celebrate the send-off of senior Jillian Alene in her final regular season game at Matthew Knight with a win over SC 69-60. Oregon baseball swept San Diego State in Cali. Oregon softball outscored Central Arkansas in 2 games 27-3 after losing 2 of 3 to Louisiana Lafayette in Louisiana. And Demi Hamlin wins the Daytona 500 by 10,000ths of a second. Wake Up Call Sports on KPNW News Time 723.
KPNW weather brought to you by Mattress Mania in Albany, Eugene, Springfield, and Corvallis. Save like crazy.
Starting out your work week with a little bit of patchy fog on this Monday, but that's expected to clear out by mid-morning. For the rest of the day, expect mostly sunny skies with highs in the low 50s. Light and variable wind throughout the day coming out of the north. Freezing overnight lows near 31 with more fog rolling in later on tonight. From the NBC 16 First Alert Weather Center, I'm Angelica Carrillo.
Hi, everybody. This is Don Essig with today's Motivational Minute, brought to you by Builders Electric, providing smart electrical service since 1960. You've not done enough. You've never done enough, so long as you have something more to contribute. Those strong words were shared by Dag Hammarskjöld when he was the United Nations Secretary General, and I'm sure that he was referring to the nations of the world who were capable of helping others to continue their contributions. However, his statement surely fits each one of us personally. Have you contributed all you can to the world by using all your strengths? Take a few minutes today and list some of the strengths you still have left to give. This is Don Essig with today's Motivational Minute. I'll be back tomorrow. Until then, have a positive day.
Today's Motivational Minute was sponsored by Builders Electric, voted the Register Guard's 2015 Reader's Choice #1 electrical contractor, providing positive service for over 55 years. That's Builders Electric, CCB 4296.
Northwest Alternative Health Eugene's premier medical marijuana clinic has a new location. Yes, we've moved to 1675 West 11th Suite B on the corner of 11th and Chambers. Having a medical marijuana card gives you exclusive access to medicine otherwise not available for recreational users, lower prices at the dispensaries, and higher limits for possession and growing. To get your card, drop by our new location or give us a call at 888-920-6076 or visit us online at ommpcard.com.
Sun Automotive is proud to sponsor the Northwest edition of Lars Larson. Sun Automotive, with locations in Eugene and Springfield, reminds you, stay safe on the road, keep your car well maintained, and don't text and drive. Sun Automotive.
This is a referral service. Calls will be routed to an independent referral insurance agency. Do you know the #1 cause of bankruptcy? No, it's not losing your job or running up credit card debt. It's not even divorce. It's medical costs. If you and your family don't have health insurance, just one serious illness or accident could be financially devastating. But now there's good news, really good news. A health insurance hotline has been established to provide health insurance for all Americans, even uninsured Americans with pre-existing conditions. Now anyone can get health insurance even if you have a pre-existing medical condition. I repeat, now anyone can get health insurance coverage. Call now for a free no-obligation quote on affordable health plans available to you. Again, this is a free hotline for anyone, even if you have pre-existing conditions. Protect you and your family from sudden unexpected medical costs. Call the free health insurance hotline right now at 1-800-841-0007. That's 1-800-841-0007. Call 1-800-841-0007.
How precious and tiny, how little and sweet. We thought we would have you forever to keep. These are the first lines of a poem I wrote for the funeral of my nephew who was born asleep at just over 8 months gestation. We never got to hear him cry or see him smile. No family should know this kind of pain. That's why I'm committed to helping March of Dimes in their mission to end preterm birth. As a participant in the March of Dimes High Heels for High Hopes event here in Eugene on February 24th, my goal is to raise $10,000.
You can help my friend Tab by making a tax-deductible donation. Go to kpnw.com and click on the link.
This is a heavy dose of hard-hitting wake-up call. This is the wake-up call.
For one thing, thank you so much.
Holloway in London and the wake-up call.
Yeah, I love what you do.
On News Radio 1120, KPNW.
News Radio 1120, KPNW. It is 7:27. Being joined this morning by
Kevin Mannix, a former Oregon legislator. He was also a candidate for governor of our fine state. And he is an attorney, still working up Salem way, and he joins us on the Wake Up Call this morning. Kevin, thanks for being with us. We appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Good morning.
Thank you for being here. Well, let's start off. You have made an interesting proposal, and it deals with Terminal 6 out up at the Port of Portland, which has been all but shut down courtesy of, labor problems up there. And you've kind of come up with a way to work around that, potentially. Why don't you explain that to us?
Sure. What we need to do is take a step back and recognize that the Port of Portland is not a small or regional port or city port. It is actually owned by the state of Oregon, which is a fairly unique situation. And as it is owned by the state of Oregon, it is possible for the state to use its capabilities to create a new entity here. And I look to OHSU, Oregon Health and Sciences University, as an example. We converted OHSU in 1995 to a public corporation, gave them the capabilities of entrepreneurs as well as the capabilities of a state entity. And with that combined set of features, they've been a wonderfully successful enterprise on behalf of health and science in Oregon and the world. Now, as to Container 6, or Terminal 6, the Container Terminal 6, that is a part of the Port of Portland, but it's the one part of the Port of Portland which hasn't been working well. And in 2010, the Port of Portland actually leased off T6, the container shipping terminal, to a private terminal operating company. But the port had been losing money on Terminal 6 even before they leased it out. The new company came in, tried to make a go of it, but there have been chronic labor management issues affecting that operation, and this is a private sector labor management issue involving the Longshoremen's Union and involving this terminal operating company. But it's now all twisted up in a knot of bad relationships. But the state is still the owner of this modern terminal facility that was built by the citizens of the state in the 1970s, and it's the only container shipping terminal that we have for Oregon. So what I've proposed is that we create the Oregon Container Shipping Authority, a state entity, a public corporation, to step in and take over this operation, working with the union, working with the current lessee, the private terminal company, to come up with a solution. But ultimately having the power to make this port work, to make this terminal work for the benefit of Oregon. The Port of Portland's done a fine job generally. I mean, PDX is a gem. They also run the Charleston Airport. They've got a bunch of other facilities. We're focusing on the one failed facility that has cost Oregon agriculture and businesses tens of millions of dollars, maybe scores of millions of dollars, in lost revenues and in straightforward losses because of the failure to be able to ship containers out of that terminal.
Okay, so to enumerate that a little bit, at least what you've said, is that my understanding is that Eastern Oregon producers, say, watermelons, is going to cost them, or it costs them, up to $1,000 more per container to truck their goods up to Tacoma, Washington, to be shipped out of the country. And that is a considerable chunk of dough. I mean, it's maybe won't necessarily break the bank, but that's just, I mean, it's still quite a bit more expensive. My question here is, you said you would hope that the shipping authority would be able to work with the union. What is to lead you to believe that they would be able to do something that the Port of Portland failed to do and the current private entity has failed to do? I mean, what leads you to believe that they're going to be any more successful at this when, at least by the accounts that we've read and seen, the union has been pretty well intractable here?
Well, the Port of Portland has psychologically acted as though it is a local port and has been very reactive to what I'll call the local political constituency, and that's a reality. And yes, this one union group has been fairly intractable too, but they're part of a West Coast problem. and it's both on the management side and the labor side. There's the Pacific Maritime Association, and then there's the Longshoremen's Union, and they have a contract that applies to all the ports on the West Coast, all the major ports. 29 ports are under this, as I understand it. And the difference here is that the Oregon Container Shipping Authority, the board of directors will be appointed by county commissioners throughout the state to reestablish the sense that this is a state facility that's supposed to serve the state of Oregon and its people, and not just local interests in the Portland area. And in fact, the vast majority of what goes through that port doesn't stay in Portland in terms of the container shipping. So we're talking about a different mindset in terms of the constituency as to who owns this operation and who's looking for a solution. But there's something else. A public corporation, as we envision it, is not subject to federal labor laws. It is not under the NLRA, the National Labor Relations Act, or the NLRB. It doesn't have to look to Washington, D.C. to solve its labor issues. It is able to rely simply on Oregon law and Oregon administrative functions to deal with labor issues as to a state entity. And so part of this is to change the nature of the beast, so to speak. Instead of having Terminal 6 being part of a family of 29 ports that are all dealing with federal labor law and a West Coast contract, we should be looking at a unique Oregon solution involving Oregon law and Oregon government as well as entrepreneurship to deal with those labor management issues and not look to the federal government, which seems to be tied up with its own problems, so to speak.
Kevin Mannix joining us on the Wake Up Call. All right, so you're proposing to take that in front of the legislature in 2017. If what you say is true about being able to avoid the National Labor Relations Board, et cetera, it would seem to me, A, the unions would be dead set against this, and B, our legislature in its current state and makeup is not going to back anything that the labor unions are not in favor of.
Well, we're talking about one labor union here, the ILWU, which is not a member of the AFL-CIO and has had its own fights with other labor unions. I'm talking about an arrangement that is still labor union friendly, but is not tied to the federal system. The state of Oregon has many unionized employees, and we have, by rule and by statute, made sure that we recognize their rights to collectively bargain. We recognize how to resolve grievances, and it's a process that, if it's applied properly, can work very well. And I would analogize this to, for instance, our corrections officers are unionized, many of our peace officers in the communities are unionized, but we have statutes that regulate how they handle themselves, and that they're not allowed to go on strike. There is arbitration provided. What I'm getting at is we can come up with a system that is fair to working people, but which doesn't make us the vassals of a federal system which is not being used properly right now. And I'm not going to blame either side except to say that both of them have issues, and our solution is to look to our own power as a people and as a state. I've kidded some of my Democrat friends that this is almost like a socialist solution, talking about a public corporation. On the other hand, we've owned the Port of Portland for decades, and so we might as well make use of that capability. If we had this to do over and we were starting a fresh port, I'd rather see a private sector enterprise, but that's not what we're talking about here. It's a state enterprise. Let's start acting like it is, and let's step in and take over the situation and clean it up.
Okay, so of those Democratic friends you've talked to, how many of them are in favor of this idea, or at least willing to listen?
Well, so far, all of them have been willing to listen. I have visited with legislators on both sides of the aisle, and the views so far are largely in the range of neutrality and interest, because we're just getting this started. And this process involves generating support from the community and informing educators about what we're doing. And we know this is not an overnight thing. It's going to take some time, and that's the process that we've begun. This conversation we're having right now is part of that process.
Sure. This off of our listener email at 1120kpnw@gmail.com. Josh writes, OHSU was a successful enterprise before corporate structure. The chain allowed it to expand that success. Do you really believe that the state is going to handle a union? I believe it'll be the other way around. Sell it. What's your take?
Well, my take is I'm being very delicate about what I say publicly about how we handle anything with ICTSI, the terminal operator, or ILWU, the union. But the state in the past has recrafted relationships when we've been willing to do so. And I as a legislator for 10 years, I participated in a lot of legislative rewrites and reorganizations where we fix things to make government work better. Here, the fix is focused on Terminal 6, but this authority will also be involved in looking at short-line railroad needs in the state, how we handle our trucking regulation system, and the environmental community, I think, will be very supportive of a solution that gets the container terminal operating again because of the carbon footprint right now of hundreds of trucks, additional trucks running up and down every day to the port of SeaTac, Seattle and Tacoma, that whole area, congesting the highways and adding to the negative carbon footprint. We'd be solving some environmental issues with this solution. So I'm saying there's other political forces at work that can bring about a solution here.
Kevin Mannix on the Wake Up Call this morning. I want to change the subject on you a little bit. You were a legislator, as you mentioned here just a couple of minutes ago, as well as being an attorney. This idea of adding in the legislature emergency notations or clauses to bills so that they go into effect almost immediately, and the way that it's being used to gum up the initiative petition process, how is it that the legislature and constitutionally, and I'm talking about Oregon's Constitution, how they're able to apply it to bills that are obviously not only not emergencies, but many of them don't even go into effect until well after this, 90-day period. How are they able to do that legally?
Well, they're able to do it legally because the Constitution allows the legislature to add an emergency clause to legislation to have it go into effect more quickly than usual. Being able to do it under the current standards is not whether it's the right thing to do. And in fact, there is an initiative out there, which I'm not running, but I support, which limits the capability of the legislature to put emergency clauses on legislation. The emergency clause has one immediate effect. It negates the capability of citizens to do a referendum on a bill that's been passed. And the rationale when we established the referendum right 100 years ago was, well, there may be an emergency because when you start a referendum petition, you stop when you get the referendum petition signed up, you stop the legislation from going into effect until it's voted upon. And you can make the argument occasionally there'll be an emergency where you just can't let that happen. Well, the problem is there was no restraint on adding an emergency clause, and the emergency clause is being added willy-nilly to all kinds of legislation where there is no real emergency, and it's just added as part of the process. There's no special requirement that there be extra votes to justify the emergency. And the initiative that's out there, it requires that there be extra votes justifying the emergency. There's some definitions in it, and again, I think that's a good thing because the emergency clause is being used right now to subvert the people's right to use their referendum power. Whether it's liberal or conservative, the referendum power is out there so people can say, hey, wait a minute, we want to vote on this, and we want this to put in front of a vote of the people, and that has been subverted. And as I recall, nearly a majority of bills being passed now have emergency clauses. My God, I didn't know that everything was a state of emergency in this state. Reminds me of the Nana Republic dictatorships declaring emergencies.
Well, you bring up a couple of really good points there. I want to follow up on one of the points that we're making here. Nowhere in the state constitution does it give any kind of indication or guidelines as to how something or what an emergency is. Normally, there are some legal definitions. I take it the Constitution doesn't say what an emergency is or what constitutes an emergency.
No, it doesn't. And let's be blunt about this. I think at the time the people who wrote this thought that there would be good faith and that responsible legislators would not abuse their power. But they have abused their power, and they've been irresponsible about this. And I know from talking to legislators, Legislative Counsel routinely asks them, do you want to add an emergency clause to this bill? It's as though it's an automatic thing. So the power has been used inappropriately, and the initiative that I'm aware of is designed to define emergency, restrict it, and to require extra votes if it's a gray area. And I think that is a very good idea to limit the power of the legislature to evade the referendum process.
I know that we said that we were going to be on here about 15 minutes. Do you have like just a couple of more minutes in your schedule?
Glad to stay with you for a couple more minutes.
Okay, good deal. My final question this morning is, and this is kind of a pointed question, and that is, what is it going to take for the Republican Party in Oregon to, return from being nearly third-party status here in the state?
That's a big question.
Yeah.
As you know, many of your listeners may know, I'm a former Democrat. I left the legislature. I became a Republican. Then I returned to the legislature as a Republican. And I've been the first to say neither the Democratic Party nor the Republican Party are perfect. I simply found that the basic principles of the Republican Party were closer to mine than the Democratic Party, but neither one is perfect. The Republican Party in Oregon is going through a conversion process now. First of all, it is returning to its roots, which are some fundamental principles of personal freedom. This was the party of the elimination of slavery. This was the party whose first president was Abraham Lincoln. And what I'm seeing is basic constitutional principles being the essence of the Republican Party's position. We're going back to the U.S. Constitution and the Oregon Constitution and looking at fundamental principles of government. Instead of getting into just a series of specific issue fights, and I think the conversion to basic principles has been, in the last year or two, maybe more, has been real important. That has not translated into how we present our candidates to the voters. And a number of us are working on that to try to reach out throughout all of Oregon's diverse communities. And so there is a change going on. And yes, it is a party that is, I'll say, conservative to moderate, as opposed to the Democrats who are liberal to moderate. And I do think the messaging has been changed so that it's less a scream rather than an explanation. And as we work that, I think we're finding people that are saying, okay, I can go with that.
All right. Kevin, for folks
but it's going to take a lot of work, and it's not, it's a long trek to get. And I'm working with the party leadership because I think that the last year, literally the last year, since the new leadership's come in for the state Republican Party, they're on the right track to carry on this program.
Kevin Mannix.
Can I mention one other thing?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Kevin.
Email me about the port issue at kevin@commonsenseForOregon.org. Kevin@commonsenseForOregon.org is how it can be reached by folks who are concerned about the container shipping issue.
All right, Kevin at Common Sense for Oregon. Kevin, thanks for joining us on the Wake Up Call. We appreciate you chatting with us this morning. Best of luck on this particular project that you're working on and other future things too, and we'd love to have you back on in the future.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
All right, you take care. Kevin Mannix on the Wake Up Call. It is 746 News Radio, 1120 KPNW.
With our eye on the stock tickers, this is the Wake Up Call Business Report on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. Stocks are surging this Monday as banks and commodity shares are leading an early climb. The S&P 500 is headed toward a 6-week high after posting its best week since November last week. Oil rising today on speculation of a production freeze by some OPEC members. Yahoo will begin approaching potential corporate and private equity buyers as soon as today as the company is looking for bidders for its core business. That's according to people familiar with the matter. They say that Verizon, Comcast, and AT&T are among interested parties, as well as buyout firms including Bain Capital Partners, KKR, and TPG. The largest milk processor, Dean Foods, posted better than expected fourth quarter profit after it paid less for dairy supplies. And Honda is getting ready to issue a recall for its 2016 Civic Compact in the U.S. and has ordered dealers to stop selling some versions of the car. Blogs revealed a Honda service bulletin that said about 34,000 new Civics may have missing or misset piston rings. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
With River Road Health Mart Pharmacy and their MedSync service, they're able to help you save time and money by coordinating all your prescriptions into one easy monthly pickup.
Managing all my medications didn't fit into my busy schedule, so my River Road Health Mart pharmacist coordinated all my prescriptions into one convenient pickup. Now I only have to make one trip per month. They will even deliver them to my home or work.
Visit River Road Health Mart Pharmacy at 884 River Road in Eugene today. For more information or to transfer your current prescriptions, visit online at pharmacyeugene.com. Health Mart, caring for you and about you.
Sherman Brothers Trucking is looking for drivers, company drivers and owner-operators, flatbed, tanker, lowboy, curtain van, and dump truck. Great benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and paid vacation. Sherman Brothers has been family-owned and operated since 1969 and runs regionally with good home times. Sherman Brothers prides themselves on the quality of their drivers and the service the company provides. Excellent training and quality management will help you reach your goals. Check out ShermanTrucking.com for more details or call 800-457-1459.
Portland 2016, the most prestigious sporting event ever to be hosted in the state of Oregon. The IAAF World Indoor Track and Field Championships are coming to Portland March 17th through 20th, 2016. More than 600 of the world's greatest track and field athletes from as many as 200 countries will compete over 4 days. 26 world champions will be crowned, and you can be a part of history. Tickets are on sale now at portland2016.com.
Sponsored by T-Mobile. Switch to the Un-carrier today. T-Mobile.
This is an announcement for all people who want to take a risk-free challenge to whiten their teeth in 5 minutes. By calling now, you can whiten your teeth in 5 minutes using clinically proven power swabs. This risk-free challenge is for people whose smile has been yellowed by coffee, tea, red wine, or smoking. The Power Swabs 5-minute challenge is available by responding to this advertisement. If lines are busy, try again. Because the Power Swabs 5-minute challenge is exclusive, it's not available in drugstores. Power Swabs was formulated by Dr. Martin Ginniger and whitens teeth with a patented tooth detergent and whitening agent. It's so effective, we challenge you to try it for 5 minutes to see how white your smile could be. Get it risk-free. Dial 1-800-973-6563. 1-800-973-6563. Transform your smile into a wow, you look great smile. Dial 1-800-973-6563. 1-800-973-6563.
Mornings are a little different with a wake-up call.
You're an embarrassment to nature. Do you know that?
Holloway and London. On News Radio 1120 KPNW.
All right, Jerry Jesvold from Serenity Lane joining us now at 7:50, 10 away from 8 o'clock. By the way, Jerry, what's the update on the big grand opening?
The
New
ribbon
location.
cutting is on March 11th, and then there's a public open house on March 12th. We actually last Saturday had staff from all of our offices for a staff open house. I've been with Serenity Lane for 35, 36 years, and it's the first time that I can remember we've had all of our employees at the same place at the same time.
Did you have a big, huge group hug?
Yeah, well, we tried. We held hands. No, I'm just kidding. We had a nice open house.
Nothing wrong with that. Holding hands is fine too. There's nothing wrong with that. All right,
No.
Let's talk about using pharmaceuticals to treat substance use
Yeah.
disorders. But just hang on.
Go ahead.
Let's kind of get the definition for people that maybe when they hear substance use disorder, I mean,
Right.
what exactly is that?
Well, we chatted about this, and some of your listeners may not have heard about it. About a year and a half ago, the DSM-5 came out, and there was, we've gone from 1 to 5. The DSM-5 is the manual that diagnoses all mental health disorders as well as substance use disorders. And they took away addiction and abuse, the terminology, hoping that it would take away some of the stigma of accessing treatment, and rephrased it substance use disorder, or in the case of alcohol use disorder, case of opiates, opiate use disorder. And then they categorized them as either mild, moderate, or severe.
And the ones we're talking about this morning would be those with a substance use disorder diagnosis of severe.
Okay. And so what kind of, when we talk pharmaceuticals, what are we talking?
Well, I wrote an article on this a couple of years ago too, and I don't remember how we phrased it, but in essence, it's kind of an oxymoron, using drugs to treat drug dependent folks. One of the things that we talked about several years ago is that when people start using mood-altering psychoactive substances, their biochemistry changes, specifically in the brain. And in other places as well, the central nervous system. What ends up happening is, let's say if it's a sedative depressant drug, when you take that drug away, their bodies do exactly the opposite. It creates stimulation to the potential of even seizuring. Heroin, for an example, most heroin addicts will tell you when they don't have heroin, they start going through withdrawals and they feel like they want to die. That's what they'll say, but they won't. On the other hand, alcohol, if you get to a point of a severe case, you can take the alcohol away, and due to the stimulation that it creates, a person could have a stroke or a heart attack and actually die. So we use Librium. That's probably the most noted from years gone by, and still to a certain extent we use, which it basically calms the central nervous system and it helps them through that process. Then when we get to the more severe opioids, including heroin, about 5-6 years ago, the pharmaceutical companies came up with a substance called buprenorphine, and Suboxone is probably one of the most noted brand names. And what that does is it takes away that potential for discomfort, and so it makes it, I guess, the best way to describe it, more humane.
What percentage of people, when we're diagnosing, what percentage of the folks that have the disorder go this route? As far as
everybody that comes into residential, which is what we're talking about, goes through a minimum of 24 hours of observation. During that period of time, we evaluate how severe their withdrawal is going to be, because the body, without the drug, starts disclosing that hours, frankly, after they admit. So depending upon the severity of the case, the doctors will make a determination whether or not they're going to go ahead and administer any kind of a medication to help them. Of the population that we get into residential, I would say without, just anecdotally, but without hesitating, that half at least are going to have some kind of a medication.
So how is this different than, what we used to hear of the old methadone treatments where, you go in and, you're swapping one drug for another to try and get them off, and then you end up getting addicted to the methadone?
Big time. No, you're right on, Bill. We don't use anything like that. Methadone is and to some extent, there are treatment providers out there that are using Suboxone similar to how they use methadone, and that is basically you're substituting a drug for a drug. We're not doing that. We're basically, if, for example, somebody that comes in with an opiate disorder that the doctor decides to use Suboxone with, we give it to them for a period of time, but it's a window. It's a short period of time, unlike methadone where it could be going on indefinitely. And so we do what's called a quick titrate off of that, hopefully before they actually discharge if they're with us for like 30 days. So we're not going to substitute it and make it go on long term, is what I'm saying.
Take Serenity Lane spokesperson hat off, and then kind of put recovering addict hat on, and talk about how you feel about that.
Well, frankly, up until about 3 or 4 years ago, Dr. Kearns, who founded Serenity Lane, was pretty adamant against it. If you go back to the real old days, I had a couple of uncles that went through the old Raleigh Hills program, and back then, it was pretty much alcohol back then. The way they dealt with withdrawals is they put you in a straitjacket and strapped you down to a bed and let you go ahead and seizure. Not a real humane way to go about, getting people to a point where they're
biochemically stabilized, which is what this is all about, and then entering into a treatment experience that they're going to remember. The one thing that's, that we have to be, and we were hesitant at first, regarding the buprenorphine Suboxone story, to use it, because basically what you're taking away is any level of discomfort. I mean, I can remember sitting with several, healthcare professionals that were scared to death to come into treatment because they were addicted to opiates, because they knew what was going to happen. They were going to start going into withdrawals. They didn't know about buprenorphine. When the doctors were using the buprenorphine to kind of, and it literally takes away those withdrawal symptoms and indicators, and they're just kind of, wow, withdrawal is not so bad anymore. Now, what's the problem with that? The problem with that is the patient who leaves treatment, they get out there and they get that temptation to use again. They say, well, I'll go ahead and use because I know there's always that buprenorphine that'll make the withdrawals, not so uncomfortable. So philosophically, we won't, make that decision to use that unless they make a commitment to treatment after they're actually stabilized.
And that's where we're going to have to end it. Sorry to get it. It's an important subject, and so maybe we can touch on that in the beginning. But
sure,
Jerry
not a problem.
SerenityLane.org, the website to get all kinds of information. Coming up on 8.
Michelob Ultra is more than a superior light beer. It's taken in all life has to offer, like catching a wave or biking a long trail. And when you're done, you reach for a cold Michelob Ultra. Fewer carbs, fewer calories, more to look forward to. Michelob Ultra. Long live the ultra life. Enjoy responsibly. Michelob Ultra Light Beer, 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, 0.6 grams protein, and 0 grams fat per 12-ounce serving. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
You know the Tannerite Sports Outlet carries Tannerite brand exploding targets. But Tannerite here in Eugene is so much more. Reloading supplies, tactical gear, magazines, accessories. And if you're worried about finding ammo, Tannerite has bulk quantities of the most popular calibers that'll keep you shooting affordably. Need it and can't find it? Tannerite staff is going to help you locate it, even if it's something they don't carry. Yes, Tannerite's the home for exploding targets. But from tactical gear to ammo, it's the Tannerite Sports Outlet, just off I-5 across from LCC.
We report, you decide. This is News Radio 1120 KPNW, Eugene, Springfield, USA.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony. Is a gun maker liable when a criminal opens fire? That's the issue in a Connecticut court today, more than 3 years after the Sandy Hook Elementary School massacre. Fox's Tanya J. Powers has more live.
The Freedom Group says it's protected by a federal law that shields gun makers from most lawsuits over criminal use of their products and wants a wrongful death suit dismissed. Now, it's the maker of the AR-15 Bushmaster, the weapon Connecticut State Police say Adam Lanza used to kill 20 first graders and 6 educators in 2012. Lawyers for some of those victims' families say the suit is permitted under an exception to federal law that allows litigation against companies that know or should know their weapons are likely to be used in a way that could hurt others. Dave.
Tanya, Jason Dalton had an affection for guns. That's what the prosecutor in Kalamazoo County, Michigan says. But Jeff Getting also adds,
our suspect didn't have a prior criminal history, so he wasn't on law enforcement's radar in that respect.
Dalton's accused of killing 6 people and wounding 2 in a series of Saturday shootings. He is due in court this afternoon. The Supreme Court is back in session with an empty seat draped in black where Antonin Scalia used to sit. Chief Justice John Roberts says Scalia was a man for all seasons and we will miss him beyond measure. This before hearing their first news case with 8 justices. Donald Trump will be taking his message to Nevada today.
There's nobody more conservative than me on the border.
He's hoping to score a 3rd straight win in the caucuses tomorrow as Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio go after the anti-Trump votes.
There's not a lot of good polling heading into caucus day, so these candidates are scrambling, trying to make a difference between now and the folks caucusing, but the one recent poll had Donald Trump with a healthy lead.
Fox's Mike Emanuel in Las Vegas. The next Democrat contest is Saturday in South Carolina. Actor Danny Glover is out campaigning for Bernie Sanders there this morning. Italy's prime minister says he's rooting for Hillary Clinton to win and be our next president. On Wall Street, stocks are surging. The Dow's up 181 points as oil rises more than $2 a barrel. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
This tip of the week brought to you by Neurospine Institute.
If you're a smoker, you already know that quitting will save you money and help you live longer. But did you know that it can make your back feel better? Smoking restricts the flow of oxygen and other nutrients in the spinal discs, making you more vulnerable to lower back pain. Smoking also increases the risk of osteoarthritis and other joint disorders that cause chronic pain in other parts of the body and decreases your body's ability to heal itself from illness or injury. Numerous studies return the same consistent results, and the evidence holds true for men and women, regardless of age or occupation. Stop smoking and your back will thank you.
Are you living with chronic pain? The specialists at Neurospine Institute can diagnose the problem and develop a personalized treatment plan to address your symptoms. Their comprehensive services include clinical and surgical procedures, sports medicine, physical therapy, medical imaging, and pain management. Neurospine Institute's medical professionals will work closely with your primary care or referring physician to ensure that you receive the best care and treatment. They serve all of Western Oregon with 2 locations, the main campus in Eugene and their Roseburg clinic. Visit neurospinellc.com today and get your life back.
Russia has a new flight plan, wanting to get a really good look at America. Fox's Simon Owen, live in our European bureau.
Dave, Russia making a pitch to fly high-tech spy planes over the US, complete with powerful cameras. According to the Associated Press, Russia is expected to file a request today under an international open skies treaty to which 34 countries are signed up, including Russia and the United States. The agreement designed to promote transparency about military activity among member countries. But with US-Russia relations tense, to say the least, some American officials have previously raised concerns about Russia potentially abusing the treaty. The US can reject the request. Dave?
Simon, can the fighting be stopped in Syria's civil war?
We are closer to a ceasefire today than we have been.
A confident Secretary of State John Kerry holding talks in Jordan, though details of a tentative ceasefire between the government and rebels have not been made public. Some Syrians are skeptical. The day after a wave of ISIS bombings killed about 130 people, Islamic State militants would not be part of the truce. A mystery in space.
Music on the dark side of the moon.
I'll see you on the dark side of the moon.
No, not Pink Floyd, but newly released audio tapes reveal astronauts aboard Apollo 10 in 1969 heard strange music while passing the dark side of the moon. The crew, John Young, Gene Cernan, and Thomas Stafford, heard the eerie sounds on one of their 31 orbits of the moon.
That is the even sound outer spacey, doesn't it? You hear that whistling sound?
The tape, declassified in 2008, is featured on the latest episode of NASA's Unexplained Files, to air on the Science Channel Tuesday. Apollo 10 was the second manned mission to the moon, a practice run for the first lunar landing a few months later. Rich Dennison, Fox News.
Cuba has a plan to fight Zika. President Castro is assigning 9,000 troops to keep the virus out of the country. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News Radio.
KPNW 8:05. Pretty out. It's a good-looking day. A little bit of cloud cover here and there. Maybe some fog burning off if you got that. 54 for the eventual high. Clear skies with a little bit of clouds moving in. Overnight low down to 30. So potential freezing fog coming up tomorrow morning. 41 degrees at KPNW right now. Everything, knock on Formica, everything looking fairly cohesive. Seems like the 126 issues that we've had earlier to talk about is all but a memory. So just be glad that what you got to look forward to is clear sailing. Let's not botch that up. Coming up, a recap of something that happened that was kind of special behind the scenes for Children's Miracle Network involving the Oregon basketball team. Before that, news.
Yep, we'll have these stories coming up in just a couple of minutes. We will have for you what's going on in the legislature. Of course, a couple of bills making their way through. Everybody thought the whole issue of the minimum wage was going to be over with the governor's signature. Not so. And petition gatherers are still working to put an even more stringent measure on the ballot. We'll have the details there. We'll take a look at a couple of items over the weekend, an arrest in Lynn County that may have connections to Lane County, and a high-speed pursuit by the Springfield Police Department that still, well, isn't solved. Those stories and more coming up, including a future business leader of America in Portland. Her story and more ahead. Brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones, here on KPNW.
News time 8:07.
Catering has kind of a bad connotation. Limited menus, black ties, and uptown prices for essentially midtown food. Burrito Amigos offers catering without the pretenses. Let's just call it amigoing. When you want amigoing, you can have anything on the menu from delicious shrimp burritos to yummy tacos, from chili verde enchiladas to spicy tamales, and the whole menu is yours. Plus, they'll do special foods for folks with dietary restrictions. Really, as a matter of fact, it's so low-key, you can call the cashier at Burrito Amigos and order 50 burritos anytime with no advance notice, and it'll be ready in about 10 to 15 minutes. For bigger orders, give Larry a call and get your catering, amigoing, on the fast track. They take care of groups up to 500, and you get the equipment to keep it warm for no extra charge. No ties, no hassle, no big catering bills. That's amigoing. Burrito Amigos, amigoing for schools, businesses, clubs, offices, weddings, and more. I'm Bill London, Burrito Amigos' biggest fan, and I love making up new words. In Eugene and Springfield, Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones. Hi, this is Bill London, and I can tell you from experience, dealing with a realtor can be a trying experience. Trying to sell my mom and dad's house recently, I would have liked to have had a realtor who up front would have told me not necessarily what I wanted to hear, but what I needed to hear. Like, for instance, that we really did need to put a new roof on the house. Otherwise, we were going to get beaten down on the price, and some other things as well. Well, Eric Harpole is one of those realtors. He won't tell you what you want to hear, but what you need to hear to get the most out of your house.
I think when you sit down with Eric or anybody from his team, it's quickly apparent. I mean, they're serious, they know real estate, and they're not into filling the air with things that aren't true. Whether you're buying or selling or even thinking about doing either of those two, call the Harpole team at 541-286-3030. It will be the most refreshing conversation you ever had with a realtor. The Harpole Real Estate Group is changing the way real estate gets done here locally. 541-286-3030.
Ramjack has your foundation solution. Ramjack can fix that.
CCB 146906.
Now, this morning's wake-up call with the latest news from the Northwest and your neighborhood on News Radio 1120. KPNW.
Good morning. This look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones, featuring great breakfast burritos and fresh brewed, locally roasted coffee for a tasty start to your morning. Here's what's going on. The Lynn County Sheriff's Office arrested 42-year-old Ivan Page of Halsey yesterday for several sex abuse-related crimes. Page literally walked into the Lynn County Sheriff's Office on his own and made a request to talk to a deputy about his alleged crimes. Page told investigators that he sexually abused 4 underage girls over the course of several years. He's now being lodged in the Lynn County Jail on 5 counts so far of sexual abuse in the first degree. The investigation is ongoing and may lead to additional charges in Marion and Lane counties. Springfield police are still searching for a man accused of leading police on a high-speed pursuit in a stolen car over the weekend. The suspect has been on the lam since Saturday night. The pursuit started in Springfield, where police say he reached speeds close to 100 miles an hour. It ended about 10 minutes later near the University of Oregon campus when he ditched the car and ran. Springfield police initially tried to pull the car over because it had a badly bent license plate. An officer attempted to get the driver to pull over near Hayden Bridge Way and Pioneer Parkway West. The driver, who's now identified as 31-year-old Ryan Bird, tore off, leading police on a pursuit that finally ended at 16th and Ferry Street in Eugene. Police say that Bird stopped the vehicle and then ran. Several streets were blocked off during the search Saturday night. Police brought in a canine unit to try and find Bird. They were unsuccessful. They do say Bird is not considered to be a danger to the community. Well, the Oregon legislature has passed a minimum wage bill, which the governor has said she will sign. Brad Ford reports the fight isn't over.
Justin Norton Kurtzon's an organizer of the petition effort to put a $15 an hour minimum wage bill on November's ballot. The bill headed to the governor is not as much as he wants.
It's too low and it's too slow.
His measure would have one rate and gets there in half the time of the legislature's bill.
Our bill phases in a statewide $15 minimum wage in 3 years, so by 2019.
They have collected half the signatures they need to get the measure on the ballot, and they're continuing to collect signatures. They're also watching developments in Salem to see whether another proposal emerges that might be closer to what they'd like to see. Brad Ford, KPNW.
Well, a bill in the Oregon legislature would give counties a way to help the families of first responders who were killed in the line of duty. State Senator Fred Girod says first responders like police and firefighters lead dangerous lives.
These people put their lives on the line, and every day they don't know if it will be their last.
A bill that passed the Oregon Senate would allow counties to waive property taxes up to an assessed value on a home of $250,000. Girod says the financial help can make a big difference.
This is hard on their families, it's hard on them, and this is just a way of showing respect.
The bill passed the Senate unanimously and now moves to the House. Oregon breweries will be able to expand their operations under a bill passed by the legislature. Brad Ford reports it had no opposition.
This bill allows breweries to sell more products directly to consumers. Senator Floyd Przansky says it helps brewers and the OLCC.
It will, in fact, allow for what is currently occurring with multiple licenses to be done basically under one license.
A brewery could sell beer, wine, and cider, and they could come from various manufacturers. Nikos Ridge with Ninkasi Brewing says it simplifies the process and expands opportunities.
The manufacturing, the wholesale, and the retail tier.
It allows brewers to continue sales through third-party distributors while allowing customers to buy directly from their locations. Brad Ford, KPNW.
The Pacific Northwest could become a major hub for methanol production if 3 proposed refineries are built along the Columbia River and Puget Sound. Notice I said if. A China-backed consortium, Northwest Innovation Works, has proposed 2 plants in Washington and a third in Oregon to convert natural gas to methanol, which would be shipped to China to make plastics. However, those plans are running into opposition. The company temporarily put its Tacoma, Washington project on hold, saying it was surprised by the vocal opposition. Supporters say the projects would create jobs and bring billions of dollars to the region. Opponents have raised concerns about environmental and health impacts. Over 1,000 people attended a hearing this month on the proposed Tacoma refinery that would produce about 20,000 metric tons a day. Well, the sheriff of Grant County is still under a state investigation for his relationship with the Malheur Refuge occupiers. The department that certifies officers has received at least 8 complaints about Sheriff Glenn Palmer. He's accused of sharing government plans and tactics with the militia. Eric Gablix with the Department of Police Standards says it could cost Palmer his law enforcement certification.
They appear to be very serious and require that we look into them. And we've asked the Oregon Department of Justice to conduct the investigation on our behalf.
Sheriff Palmer is not commenting on the investigation. They don't know how long it's going to take to complete the investigation. So about a fourth of Oregon's medical marijuana dispensaries selling the drug recreationally are not registered to pay taxes on those sales. Dispensaries have until the 29th of this month to pay a 25% sales tax on January recreational marijuana sales. About 245 out of 320 dispensaries selling recreational pot have set up accounts with the State Department of Revenue. Oregon Department of Revenue spokesperson Joy Krozik says that the department expects an upswing in registrations as the deadline gets closer. Many medical marijuana dispensaries are temporarily selling the drug for recreational use. Licenses for those looking to sell recreational pot alone are not going to be issued until the fall. Tax reminders were mailed out to recreational marijuana dispensaries about a month ago. Well, the recent discovery of toxic pollution hotspots in Portland came almost as an afterthought. The 2 U.S. Forest Service researchers who studied tree moss samples from around the Rose City were primarily interested in testing for pollution from wood smoke and car exhaust. One of the researchers, Jeffrey Donovan, wasn't keen on the issue of testing for carcinogenic heavy metals. But it was his colleague, Sarah Jovan, who convinced him, in part because it's a relatively cheap test. They expected to see cadmium pollution in northeast Portland, where there's facilities that use the metal. But as they compiled a map showing their research, they also found very high levels in other parts of the city near a pair of stained glass manufacturers. State environmental regulators have been under fire ever since making news of the pollution public February 3rd. Mainly because it was 8 months after they'd learned about the scientists' discovery from the Forest Service. Well, cross-laminated timber promises to revolutionize construction in the U.S. and breathe new life into Oregon's wood products industry.
The larger Pacific Northwest region is well positioned to produce at least a quarter of the global output of CLT.
Lech Muzinski with OSU's College of Forestry says the massive panels are strong enough to be used for walls, floors, and roofs. They're sustainable and a cost-effective alternative for steel and concrete high-rises. He's collaborating on research and development with D.R. Johnson. That Southern Oregon company is the first certified producer in the U.S., but they figure within 5 years, the industry will literally explode in the Northwest. Once again, Oregon is among the nation's leaders in several types of vegetable production. Brad Ford says the USDA's National Agricultural Statistics Service has released its annual summary of U.S. veggie production, and the numbers are pretty impressive.
Oregon ranks 6th of all states in the production of fresh market veggies and 9th in value. For processed vegetables, Oregon's 5th in both production and value. Eric Garman with the Oregon Department of Agriculture says even though processing's a major destination for the state's veggies, there's also a strong fresh market.
The wide array of vegetables we grow is another example of our tremendous diversity in Oregon.
Oregonians have increased their appetite for locally grown food, which bodes well for growers.
It's not just that we grow these vegetables, it's also that we're the leading state in production for many of these vegetables.
Many consumers and most growers believe Oregon veggies rank #1 in quality. Brad Ford, News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Federal and local investigators are asking for the public's help to identify additional victims after a Portland area school district employee was arrested on a child pornography charge. The Clackamas County Sheriff's Office says James McLaughlin worked with special needs students. He was arrested Friday. He's expected to make his initial appearance in federal court this morning. Federal prosecutors say McLaughlin was charged with 1 count of producing child pornography. He was suspended by the school district February 16th. Prior to that suspension, he worked with a small number of developmentally disabled kids as an adaptive physical education instructional assistant. His arrest came 2 days after agents with the Interagency Child Exploitation Prevention Task Force searched his home and seized laptop computers and other items. Well, the U.S. Navy is naming a ship after the City of Roses. They're calling it the USS Portland. Captain Darren Plath says it's a San Antonio-class amphibious troop transport.
680 feet long, 106 feet wide, carries a crew of 381 sailors and about 699 Marines.
The ship is being built in Pascagoula, Mississippi. It's about 70% complete, and it's also now on the water. It'll be completed by next summer and ready for sea trials before it's delivered to the Navy. And finally, call this young lady a future successful entrepreneur. A Girl Scout is selling boxes of cookies outside of a shop in Portland. All right, not much news there until you find out it's a pot shop, and she's hoping to raise money for a summer trip to horse camp. She was selling under the supervision of her aunt, who says that the girl came up with the idea of selling outside Foster Bud's marijuana dispensary. The aunt said they had several customers within seconds of setting up their table. The Girl Scouts organization says they do not condone this, but it's not against the rules. An employee at the shop said it was great to partner with the kids to help them reach their sales goals. The spokesperson from the Girl Scouts of Oregon and Southwest Washington said, and I'm quoting, they recommend that if a minor cannot enter a premises unaccompanied, they should not sell Girl Scout cookies in front of said premises. Okay. It's 8:20. This look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones. You're up to date from KPNW.
Wake Up Call Sports on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Wheeler going to pass? No. Oh, he knows his career high. He just tied it. Lillard was looking for the ball. And there it is. And the fans want Lillard to get 50. A deeper three. Yes, sir.
He could not miss. Damian Lillard throwing down 51 points on Friday night, the first player of the weekend to score 50 points, one of two. More on that coming up. He also added 7 assists and a career-high 7 steals. And what makes it even more unimaginable, it was against the Golden State Warriors. Lillard surpassed his previous career high of 43 in a crushing win over the Warriors, 137-105. Blazers and Lillard dismantling a team who had only lost 4 games going into the Friday night affair at the Moda. Could have been a reaction to him being left off initially, Team USA. For those that fear that there would be a letdown for the next game, Blazers pulled out a 115-111 game over Utah, overcoming a 13-point deficit in the third quarter. Weekend for 50s. Anthony Davis scored a franchise record 59 and pulled down 20 rebounds. One of only 3 players to score 55-plus and have 20 rebounds or more in a game. The other 2, a guy named Shaq, a guy named Wilt. Pretty good company. Pelicans chopped down the Pistons 111-106. Oregon men's basketball in Eugene, round 2 of the Civil War. This one goes to the Ducks. Tyler Dorsey scoring 25 as Oregon wins by 10, although they were up by even more. OSU managed to make it a little bit more respectable in the end. OSU women, the number 7 Beavers fend off number 12 UCLA, 64-54, extending their win streak to 14. Ducks celebrate the send-off of senior Jillian Aline with a win, 69-60 over SC. Oregon baseball swept San Diego State and Cali over the weekend. Oregon softball outscored Central Arkansas in 2 games, 27-3. after losing 2 of 3 to Louisiana Lafayette in Louisiana. Too much gumbo and bread pudding. And Denny Hamlin wins the Daytona 500 by 10,000ths of a second. Maybe you heard. Wake Up Call Sports on KPNW News Time, 8:23.
The most accurate forecast now. We have weather every 10 minutes during Wake Up Call on News Radio 1120. KPNW.
We're heading for a mild and dry weather pattern this week with mostly sunny to partly sunny skies. Daytime highs will climb to the upper 50s to low 60s. Rain chances will be low throughout the week. The best chance for moisture comes Thursday with a 60% chance of rain. Otherwise, expect patchy morning fog and decreasing clouds throughout the day. Overnight lows will be chilly in the low 30s. From the NBC 16 First Alert Weather Center, I'm Angelica Carrillo.
Tune in to Real Estate Today, weekdays at 5:30 p.m.
I'm Bob Nelson.
And I'm Marcia Edwards of the Real Estate Today Show. We've been standing next to Mark Brockett of Willamette Valley Bank Home Loan Division. He is an amazing lender for residential loans.
He has an opportunity to take a look at your situation, identify, but for instance, should you refinance? It could save you a lot of money for a number of years to come. Fantastic.
That's Mark Brockett. Call him today.
You can reach Mark Brockett at 541-431-0236. That's Willamette Valley Bank Home Loan Division at 315 Coburg Road.
Whether it's new or recycled office furniture, Oregon's most respected office furniture dealer is Office Furniture Direct in Portland, selling furniture throughout the state. Office Furniture Direct has clients up and down I-5 and is making trips into Eugene every month and can be your source for the best price and finest installation. Save money on quality office furniture at Office Furniture Direct at ofd-pdx.com.
Office Furniture Direct.
Business owners, get ready for the spring season. Focus attention on your products and services with our famous radio auction set for March 12th. You'll get valuable on-air promotion, plus the full value of your items in advertising just when you need it. The auction is an easy way to get your message and product into the hands of the hundreds of thousands of listeners our stations promote to each and every day. To participate, call 284-3600. That's 284-3600. And ask for our sales staff for help. That's the radio auction, live March 12th.
Join the Junction City Habitat for Humanity at Gunrunner Arms Birthday Celebration Saturday, February 27th. Habitat for Humanity will be collecting your new or used items for their giant spring garage sale coming up April 15th and 16th. You can donate everything from working used appliances to clothes, toys, dressers, tools, power equipment, just about everything, with the exception of upholstered furniture and mattresses. All donations tax deductible. Drop off your donation items for the JC Habitat for Humanity Saturday the 27th at Gunrunner Arms on Highway 99 and 36 in Junction City.
Anything but typical. Anything but cliche. Anything but routine. The Wake Up Call on News Radio 1120. KPNW.
UT full day, 42 degrees, a little crisp out there. Looking good. 60s, talking about a week of some pretty good looking weather. So just plan accordingly. Radiothon coming up March 10th and 11th to benefit the Children's Miracle Network. We'll be broadcasting from Riverbend. Great couple of days. It's kind of a roller coaster, to quote the cliche, ups and downs, and that is going to be here before you know it, as we raise some awareness and some funds for CMN. Friday at Matthew Night, there was a CMN event. Sydney and I were fortunate enough to see the crowning of a CMN champion.
So
every year there are CMN champion ambassadors from every state in the United States, and they all come from a Children's Miracle Network hospital. And for the state of Oregon this year, Peace Health Sacred Heart Medical Center gets to nominate a child.
We want to be able to help our families in our community that, help us on a regular basis, share the stories of what, help educate our community members about what we do exactly for Children's Miracle Network. I mean, without our miracle families, there's no way that we would be able to spread the word and the joy and the greatness that we do at our hospital for these kids without our miracle families.
Setting the scene for the big reveal, we're at a banquet room in Matthew Knight Arena. The Oregon basketball team has just finished practice. Coach Dana Altman and the players are all lined up, each one holding a special card. There's probably 60 to 80 people on hand. Hayden and his entourage are let in.
Okay, the guys are going to help us out. We're going to help you with something. And then Reagan and Mateo are going to help us read it for us. Okay? All right. You ready? No. Okay, we're going to start right there. What does that say? You are going to D-I-S-N-E-Y. You know what that's called? You want to tell him? Disney World. We got pizza, we got pictures, we got all of it. All your friends are here. Yeah, take a look. All right, let's celebrate. We're going.
Alexa Sharps from CNN.
We nominated Hayden Conley, who is a 7-year-old sweet little boy who has gone through a whole lot in his life. He's actually had 11 surgeries and is just a trooper. And so we felt like he was such a deserving little kiddo to get to go as part of this ambassador group with all of the kids from all across the country. They get to go to Washington, D.C. and potentially meet the President of the United States. And then they also get to go on a separate trip as a family to Disney World as an ambassador for the state of Oregon, and hopefully just celebrate,
Just being a kid.
Just being a kid and getting to do something that they otherwise wouldn't get to do. So we're so excited for their family, and they're going to have an awesome time.
After that, the basketball team filed out. But Coach Dana Altman hung out for a while and was even seen chatting privately with Hayden and his family. The Oregon basketball coach is very involved with the Children's Miracle Network.
All right, Coach, so from your perspective, what just happened?
Well, Hayden is a special young man. He's been through a lot, and it's a unique opportunity for our team, to see someone who's really tough and who's really fighting, and it's just great for our guys. And I hope Hayden and his friends had a good time, because we sure enjoyed it.
Now, you could get involved with a lot of organizations, a lot of charities. Why CMN?
Well, it's something, obviously, when you go to the hospital and you see the young kids, it's something that really affects you. And when I first got here, they grabbed me and took me out to the hospital, and my wife and I were hooked. It's a great thing to see young people like this and to have them have an opportunity in a great hospital to go to. It's special.
Well, we had to hear from the little man of the hour.
When you walked in, you saw all these people. What was going through your head? What did you think?
That I was gonna get crushed over.
You were gonna get what?
Nothing.
No, say it. You were gonna get what?
No.
Yeah. What did you think you were gonna get dunked on?
Oh, dunked on. So my daughter Sydney wanted to know how old you were.
7.
7 years old. What's your favorite? She wanted to know what your favorite movie was.
Bugs Bunny.
Oh, old school. Yeah.
Are you gonna bug Mateo so he can tell you all the inside about the trip?
Yes.
Do you have any advice, Mateo?
No, I forgot everything about it because I was like 3 when I went.
Once again, Abby from Children's Miracle Network.
I mean, today was like my full circle moment in my job of why I work so hard and why we want people to know what CMN is because of the look on Carrie's face, Hayden's mom, and Hayden when he found out that he's going to Disney World. And I don't think he's even really fully processed the fact that he's going. I think it's going to hit him probably over the weekend. and he's going to freak out.
Mom, you think that's accurate?
Absolutely.
How are you doing?
I am emotional, but in a very happy way. I am so full of gratitude and hope and love to share our story, and not just the heartache, but the hope and the healing that goes along with it.
It was kind of cool to see. I mean, you had the Oregon basketball team open their arms, Tracktown, but I think Pizza for 1,000.
Yes.
I mean, you see a bunch of people, like the whole community, just kind of rallying.
CMN dreamed this for us and made this dream come true, and I'm just so grateful.
You guys are going to have fun, aren't you?
Oh my goodness, fun like you would not believe.
Let's see, more fun going to the White House or going to see the mouse?
It will be equally as fun in different ways.
Diplomatic answer, very good.
Hayden had 2 life-saving surgeries in his first 24 hours of life support for the first 10 days. He's had a total of 10 surgeries and countless procedures. The fight continues, but there's going to be some pretty good times in the future. Have fun, Cumley family.
It's like the biggest surprise party ever.
The Wake Up Call with Holloway in London on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
That's from the event that happened on Friday at Matthew Knight Arena with the basketball team, Coach Altman and company. Hayden, just to kind of fill you in, he was born with, he didn't have the ability to eat or even swallow. Couldn't eliminate waste. His abdomen was severely swollen and painful. His left lung collapsed. He had heart disease with deformed valves and holes in his heart. I mean, a litany of things, and the hospital that he was at was ill-prepared, didn't have the equipment. Thankfully, Riverbend, because of the money that perhaps you've even donated to CMN, able to take care and continues to take care. It was so cool seeing Dr. Carlson and all kind of the advanced preview of who we're going to talk to at Radiothon, but to see them come out and be a part of the crowning, if you were on Friday. They're the stars.
Nice work.
8:34.
It's the latest wake-up call market news. This is the KPNW Business Report.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. Stocks across the globe are rallying, with the S&P extending its best week of 2016. Energy and materials companies leading the gains. Staying with oil, shale supply in the U.S. will drop by 600,000 barrels a day this year and 200,000 in 2017 as the global oil slump squeezes out high-cost producers. That's according to the International Energy Agency. Output will start to rise again the following year and reach 5 million barrels a day in 2021. Verizon Communications agreed to acquire fiber optic networks from billionaire investor Carl Icahn's XO Communications for about $1.8 billion. It's to add internet bandwidth for corporate clients. Lumber Liquidators Flooring was found to have 3 times higher risk of causing cancer than previously stated. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention said in a statement on its website that an earlier report on the flooring used incorrect ceiling heights, lowering the airborne concentration that should have been examined and reducing the estimated danger. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg.
Personal protection is an important issue. How do you make sure you and your family are safe? Out on a trail, taking a vacation, or just staying at home? There are options to give you a little extra level of security, and Oak Grove Guns in Santa Clara Square has them. They can help you figure out whether pepper spray, a stun gun device, or a personal handgun are right for you. They have all the best brands, including Ruger, Smith & Wesson, and Sig Sauer. But more important, they know what they're talking about without being intimidating. Oak Grove Guns, proud to supply products to responsible gun owners.
Michelob Ultra is more than a superior light beer. It's taking in all life has to offer, like catching a wave or biking a long trail. And when you're done, you reach for a cold Michelob Ultra. Fewer carbs, fewer calories, more to look forward to. Michelob Ultra. Long live the ultra life. Enjoy responsibly. Michelob Ultra Light Beer, 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, 0.6 grams protein, and 0 grams fat per 12-ounce serving. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Your plan is to make the most out of life. That's why your plan is a Medicare Advantage plan from Pacific Source. It lets you choose from almost any doctor in the region with no deductible. Plus, you get great benefits, like prescription drug coverage, protection when you travel, optional dental care, and even discounts on gym memberships. Plans start as low as $39. Pacific Source Medicare, the health plan for all of life's biggest plans. To learn more about our Medicare Advantage plans, call toll-free 888-863-3637, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week. Visit us online at www.medicare.pacificsource.com. Premium and benefits may change on January 1st of each year. You must continue to pay your Medicare Part B premium. The provider network may change at any time. Members will receive notice when necessary. Pacific Source Community Health Plans is an HMO PPO plan with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in Pacific Source Medicare depends on contract renewal.
How precious and tiny, how little and sweet. We thought we would have you forever to keep. These are the first lines of a poem I wrote for the funeral of my nephew who was born asleep at just over 8 months gestation. We never got to hear him cry or see him smile. No family should know this kind of pain. That's why I'm committed to helping March of Dimes in their mission to end preterm birth. As a participant in the March of Dimes High Heels for High Hopes event here in Eugene on February 24th, my goal is to raise $10,000.
You can help my friend Tab by making a tax-deductible donation. Go to kpnw.com and click on the link.
Who doesn't want a shiny new electronic device? Sure, back home there's a garage or a basement full of old electronics that we don't talk about. But old electronics aren't garbage, and they're not useless. They're full of parts and materials that can be recycled into new electronics or donated to some wonderful causes. That flip phone and old computer can still live on. Recycling electronics is the green thing to do. It's the right thing to do, and it's so easy. Log on to greenergadgets.org and enter your zip code to find the recycling center nearest you.
Your KPNW weather brought to you by Mattress Mania,
where the side effect of saving like crazy may cause excessive high-fiving and a permanent smile.
Starting out your work week with a little bit of patchy fog on this Monday, but that's expected to clear out by mid-morning. For the rest of the day, expect mostly sunny skies with highs in the low 50s. Light and variable wind throughout the day coming out of the north, freezing overnight lows near 31 with more fog rolling in later on tonight. From the NBC 16 First Alert Weather Center, I'm Angelica Carrillo.
Holloway in London, and the Wake Up Call.
News Radio 1120, KPNW.
News Radio 1120 KPNW. Pretty nice morning out there. You may run into a wee bit of fog out there somewhere. That said, we do have an accident. Northbound lanes of I-5, about milepost 209. Left lane there, two-car crash. Thanks to Jason for emailing us this morning and being a KPNW road ranger. Thumbs up to Jason.
Northbound shoulder.
Northbound shoulder?
Yeah.
All right. Just be careful as you're traveling through there this morning and take a little extra care. Another Jason joins us in studio. Hey, look, everybody. It's Jason Teesfeld from our friends at Gunrunner Arms out there in Junction City. Jason, how you doing this morning?
Doing pretty good.
All right, welcome back. So, third birthday, and look how they've grown. And they're wearing big boy pants now and everything.
We even have jackets with our own name on it.
Nice. Well, congratulations. It's nice to know that you've learned how to stitch.
Yes. Well, I took it in middle school. I just thought I would increase my repertoire. But yeah, we've got our third anniversary coming up. We'll have a Nikon rep on hand. Once again, we'll be teaming up with Organ Paralyzed Vets of America, Junction City Habitat for Humanity, and we're doing a $250 gift card raffle, and the off rep will be there at the shop.
So for folks that don't know, OFF, by the way, is the Oregon Firearms Federation. If you listen to the show any length of time at all, you've heard Kevin Sterrett, who is kind of the driving force behind OFF on the program. You've heard him on here probably numerous times, actually. So that's what OFF is.
Well, we've partnered with Kevin a couple of different times throughout the years, and to help him out in his fight up in Salem, because he spends a lot of time and effort up there fighting this legislature that thinks that they can just pass laws without the people's input. And so we've got a $250 gift card. All the raffle proceeds go to Oregon Firearms Federation to help them out with their fight.
All right. So, as always, you guys are helping out Habitat for Humanity. It's kind of cool. Twice a year, the JC, actually, I think it's Junction City, Harrisburg, and Monroe.
Yes, it's a mouthful.
Habitat. Yeah, so we just call it Habitat for Humanity. Anyway, the JC Habitat for Humanity, they do an annual yard sale every year, and it lasts for a couple of days. It's at a local church. It's coming up in April, but they're looking for anything that you can donate that they can turn around and sell at this big yard sale, with the exception, and I talked to them about this, upholstered furniture and mattresses, and that kind of makes sense. So, but as long as it's, lightly used, don't just take your garbage down there to them. But it's lightly used stuff that they can turn around and resell for all the different things that Habitat for Humanity does in Junction City and Harrisburg and Monroe. This is a big fundraiser for them. So a great way to help out. And Oregon Paralyzed Veterans of America, another group that helps out Oregon paralyzed vets.
Correct.
In a variety of different ways. I mean, they lobby the legislature. They help them deal with issues that have to do with the Veterans Affairs. I mean, you name it, and they're pretty much there on the forefront as, spokespersons for and fighters for Oregon's paralyzed vets.
Correct. With Adam and I both being vets, while this is the store's anniversary, it's about us giving back to the vets, which we're right. Proud member being, and then on top of that, giving back to the local community that gives us so much as far as business and support in our local community. So it's about giving back to the people that help us and helping them.
All right, so let's talk about, you've got the Nikon rep that's going to be on hand, so
Correct.
You guys are going to be spying on people down the street.
No. He's just going to be bringing in some new products, answering anybody's questions about new products coming in. He told me that he's getting goodie bags put together for anybody buying Nikon products. We will have any Nikon products at 10% off, limited to stock on hand. Same with Mountain House, we'll have at 20% off, and all our Liberty safes will be on sale also.
So Mountain House products, if you don't know, are the freeze-dried products, actually made just up the road here in Albany. I love them for camping. Now, a lot of people put them away for the emergency situations, which is a smart idea. I love them for camping because they're actually really tasty and they're really light. They don't take up much room. You can stow them in a backpack, and you can get a lot of food in a very small amount of space. And it's no muss, no fuss. You don't have to carry food with you. Just these little, kind of foil packets that are very small. And it's not like people think, oh, God, these are like MREs. Not anything like them.
Not even close to MRE.
Yeah.
But even saying that, we also have MREs, and those have improved greatly over the last couple of years. But you've got the ice cream that's a great snack for the kids. You can sit there and it's not going to get all over your car. It's freeze-dried. Tastes great. They've got great desserts, as well as we got breakfast, lunch, and dinner in the packets. So
right. So anyway, I've had the things. They're actually really good, and I have a bunch of it at home. It's there with my camping stuff. Anyway, okay. So third anniversary. So the Liberty Safes, you guys are the local area.
Yes, we are the local rep
official distributor.
Yes, we have a protected 50-mile radius. So pretty much the Valley's Liberty Safe dealer. And we keep getting new shipments in, and we've got one shipment coming in this week and then another shipment coming in the middle of next month.
So you got everything from like the little biometric safes, which you put your finger kind of on the little electronic eye and the things open up, generally for a single or maybe two handguns in the larger biometric. And then you've got the big, huge, put your giant collection of firearms inside one of these things. I mean, what you do, you've got one of them.
We can actually get you a Liberty Safe vault door. If you've got that many guns, we can get you a vault door to put on your little castle there. And the biometric safes are great because you can store up to 15 fingerprints, so your whole family can have access to the firearm if need be, and it also keeps the firearm away from those that shouldn't be having it. So,
yeah. They're also set up so where you can actually bolt them, like, say, under the seat of your truck or under the seat of your car, if you want to put one there. Any other things that you guys have got going on down there that you want people to know about?
Yes, we will be closed tomorrow. It's one of the few times we're going to be closed this year. We're going through a remodel, expansion, if you will. We have carpet going down tomorrow, and so we will be closed tomorrow afternoon, or all day tomorrow, and then open back up on Wednesday. So
it's amazing how much, and having seen over the course of the last year and a half or so, it's amazing how much that little shop, and it was a little shop, now it's becoming, well, it was.
Yeah,
it was little.
500 square feet. Now we're pushing over 1,700, and we keep pushing the boundaries, and we just knocked down one of our walls to move things around and create more space so we can bring in more products for people. From reloading to safes to pistols, to rifles, handbags, we've got bullet jewelry, all that kind of stuff. Men, women, we cater them all. I mean, we try to service as many people as possible, and our reloading supplies are just keep it growing exponentially. So,
yeah, you guys have got good selection of not only powders but also the other things that you would need for reloading. Do you guys do used stuff? I mean, if people want to come in and they've got firearms they want to trade, or have you sell on consignment?
We do buy, sell, trade, and consignment. So if you're looking to trade in, get a new firearm, or your loved one passed away, we will even appraise them. Adam is certified for appraising for insurance purposes, so we can pretty much do it all. We're still working on that, we'd like to get into eventually the gunsmithing, but we don't have the room for it, let alone our
gunsmith.
Having a gunsmith on hand. They keep trying to push me for it, but I've got a day job, so.
Yeah. Well, are you a certified gunsmith?
No.
Okay. Well, then good.
Adam
then
is,
chances, then you shouldn't be a gunsmith.
Well, no, Adam is a certified gunsmith, but I do a lot of the shop's cleaning and whatnot. People bring in to have it cleaned up, serviced, inspected, and I do a lot of that. That's one of my side jobs, but Adam, just with as we keep growing, he's got to receive all the new products, pay the bills, and all that, and he doesn't have time to do any gunsmithing, plus we don't have the machining for the serious gunsmithing.
So, question here, kind of off the topic a little bit. Last year, the legislature, of course, passed a bill that required gun sales among private sellers, individuals. Like, say, if I wanted to sell a pistol to Rob over here, I would drag Rob into a gun shop, and we would have to go through the whole background check process.
Correct.
Have you had many folks coming in doing that?
Yeah, I mean, it takes some time, but staying with the state law, I mean, it's kind of still not totally clear on that when there's a denial on one side. I mean, who takes possession of the gun because it's technically in the system, all that kind of stuff. But yes, they have been doing that.
So do you do, just out of curiosity, when you do one of these transactions, do you have to do a background check on both people, the seller and the buyer, or just on
just the buyer?
Just the prospective buyer?
Yes.
So I guess then the question is, so if I, want to sell to Rob, and I drag Rob into Gun Runner's Arms in Junction City on Highway 99. I drag him in there, and for whatever reason, Rob doesn't go through. Does my gun stay with you guys then?
No, you would take it back. It's just one of those things that, because if it's a delayed sale on ours, we put it in the back. So it's still one of those things that's not totally worked out on the state level. But yeah, if it's your gun, because we technically haven't taken possession of it ourselves, it's just that we're facilitating the sale in the background check.
Okay. Got it. All right, so 3rd anniversary, big celebration coming up this Saturday. What time do you guys open?
We'll be there normal hours. We might even be there a little early.
What are normal hours?
10 to 6, Monday through Saturday, 11 to 4:30 on Sunday. And we'll even have some food vendor there. She's been there each one of our anniversary sales, and she just does amazing.
Yeah.
She's got amazing Philly and French fries and
she's
all that
good
good stuff. Yes.
She is good.
All right, so again, it's coming up this Saturday. You can save on Liberty Safes and Nikon products, Mountain House Food, a variety of other things throughout the store. You can see kind of the expansion and how the little shop that could has grown in Junction City.
Yes,
so, nice.
And just being able to also support Oregon Vets and Oregon Firearms Federation and Junction City Habitat.
All right. So Gunrunner Arms, you're going to find them out there on Highway 99 and 36 in Junction City, right there at the intersection. You'll see them if you're coming from the Eugene area, right there on the left-hand side. Jason, thanks for coming in. Thanks for chatting it up, and thanks for giving us something to give away maybe this week. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
All right. You take care.
All right, let's give away something right now in the form of some grubbage.
Oh, okay. What do you want to give away? You want to give away Burrito Amigos or Northwest Burgers? I'll let you decide.
Let's do Northwest Burgers.
All right.
Yeah.
So Northwest Burgers is the official burger of the Wake Up Call.
Okay, so 36 years ago, the Miracle on Ice occurred for the U.S. hockey team. Question is, who did they beat to win the gold? Who did they beat to win the gold medal? Okay? I mean, everybody remembers, Al Michaels, Do You Believe in Miracles? He said that this day, 36 years ago. Who did they beat to win the gold? Olympic gold. Hi, KPNW. Good morning.
Good morning. Is it USSR?
Ooh, no.
Ooh, okay.
Thanks for trying. KPNW, do you have an answer?
Yeah, was it the Russians?
Nope.
No.
Thanks for trying. KPNW, who did the U.S. beat to win the gold?
Sweden?
Ooh.
Nope.
Hang on the line. KPNW, good morning.
Hi, how about Czechoslovakia?
No. Good guess, though. Give a couple more opportunities. 541-45 KPNW 888 KPNW 888. Who did the U.S. hockey team, men's hockey team, beat to win the gold? KPNW, good morning.
Was it the Canadians?
No. Thanks for trying. If you can kind of discern where we're going with the person that we had on hold, you might be able to figure it out. So far, the closest. Well, KPNW, good morning.
Speaking.
Yeah. Do you have a guess?
Hello?
Hi.
Hello?
Hi.
Perhaps
Yeah,
an
good
answer?
morning.
Good morning. What do you think the answer is?
Well, the answer is Finland.
Who's this?
This is Pete.
Pete. We got some
Yes.
some grubbage for you. We'll even throw something in from the Whitmer Brothers cooler over there.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, cool.
Yeah. All right.
Great.
So cool. We'll give you a couple of bottles of Solo 10, which
Oh, my gosh.
Writing Solo 10, which incidentally, I tried for the first. I'm not an IPA guy. I tried it last Friday, and I like it. It's
good.
It's good.
It's a good beer.
And I'm not an IPA guy, and I like this IPA. So anyway,
Well, I'm looking forward to trying it, too.
Hopefully
Good for
you like
you.
it. And hang on the line. We need some information from you. By the way, 36 years ago, the Miracle on Ice, they played the Soviet Union. They went after that to play Finland. So there you go. Then to win the gold. Quite the event for U.S. hockey back in 1980. Hey, that's it for us. We got to run from the Whitmer Brothers studio, exiting stage left. We'll see you tomorrow at 6:05 right here.
Hey guys, watch my new bike trick. Whoa!
Accidents happen. When they do, Mackenzie Willamette Medical Center can help you get on the road to recovery faster. With the area's only 30 minutes or less ER service pledge, we will work to have you initially seen by a medical professional in 30 minutes or less. Less waiting, faster care. Only at Mackenzie Willamette Medical Center. Mackenzie Willamette Medical Center is owned in part by physicians.
I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Chris with Home Comfort. When we say the one to call,
the one means no matter what the problem.
From security lighting, generator systems, panel changeouts, service upgrades, with technicians available 24/7.
Or HVAC, from routine cleanings to breakdowns. Home Comfort's locally supported by Mitsubishi Electric. So their Mitsubishi Electric factory-trained technicians will ready your house for any season.
Make one call to 541-345-2838.
Home Comfort, the one to call.
At GoDaddy, a domain name is the beginning of something awesome. Use it to create a website to promote your business. Open an online store to sell your products. Start a blog. Build your brand. You can even connect your domain to your LinkedIn or Facebook page. And GoDaddy customer support is always ready to help. What will you do with your domain name? Get a free domain with website from GoDaddy.com, starting at $1 a month. Annual purchase of website builder required. Price valid first year only. See website for details.
Not available in California. Here's a great idea for a business. Health food and vending machines. Who doesn't want healthier choices? Imagine the money you could make. Well, the guys at Fresh Healthy Vending have already thought of it and have secured locations ready for healthy vending machines. Most of our franchisees work fewer than 15 hours a week and are amazed at the income they're making and how fast their business is growing. So go to readyforfresh.com right now. Type in promo code 1919 and receive an immediate 50% savings on franchise fees. That's right, we'll pay half of new franchisees' fees. Readyforfresh.com, 1919.
Northwest Burger inside the 5th Street Market has burgers so amazing, they're an experience all their own. Freshly ground meat, local produce, combined with the creativity of local chef Garrett Kirsch, made for a burger experience like no other. Northwest Burger, the official burger of the Wake Up Call.
My biggest concern was my daughter's safety. We were so apart from each other. My other concerns were the leaks in the wall, the mice running around.
We're in darkness, but there's always a little bit of light, and if people help, the light becomes greater.
I'm proud of my home, and I'm proud of all that it took to build it.
Because of this house, our family has become united.
You can change the lives of families in your community and around the world. Join us. Habitat. We build.
The Wake Up Call with Holloway and London, 1120 KPNW.
Do you have 30 minutes a week to make a difference in the life of a Eugene student? Join the Eugene Middle School Lunchtime Mentor Program. Be a friend. Support a middle schooler this year. Visit 4j.lane.edu/volunteers for more information.
KPNW weather brought to you by Mattress Mania in Albany, Eugene, Springfield, and Corvallis. Save like crazy.
We're heading for a mild and dry weather pattern this week with mostly sunny to partly sunny skies. Daytime highs will climb to the upper 50s to low 60s. Rain chances will be low throughout the week. The best chance for moisture comes Thursday with a 60% chance of rain. Otherwise, expect patchy morning fog and decreasing clouds throughout the day. Overnight lows will be chilly in the low 30s. From the NBC 16 First Alert Weather Center, I'm Angelica Carrillo.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. Stocks are higher this Monday. Investors continue to load up on some of this year's worst performers, with the banks up for the 5th time in 6 days. Verizon says it will now offer customers 2 low-cost bundles, one that does not include sports channels and one that does. Both options cost $55 a month, and both offer channels including CNN, Nickelodeon, and MTV. Car makers are becoming a familiar sight at tech shows where they're rolling out new models targeted toward millennials. The pivot toward millennials comes on a slowdown in China and a boom in ride-sharing services such as Uber that have left car companies anxious about growth. Ford, Volvo, and Mercedes-Benz are all presenting at this week's Mobile World Congress in Barcelona. And carmaker Tesla has finally gotten its hands on Tesla.com domain name that has been owned by a Silicon Valley engineer and virtually unused for 24 years. A spokesperson confirmed that the company now has the domain. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Depend on us for breaking news from the local neighborhood to the global one. We are News Radio 1120 KPNW, Eugene, Springfield.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lisa Brady.
On Saturday, another one of our communities was terrorized by gun violence.
President Obama moments ago on the shooting that left 6 dead in Kalamazoo, Michigan. The suspect, an Uber driver, due in court today.
Before I joined all of you, I called the mayor, the sheriff, and the police chief there and told them that they would have whatever federal support they needed in their investigation.
The president speaking to a governor's meeting at the White House on the importance of working together to face homegrown terror and cyber threats. The top 3 Republicans left in the presidential race are descending on Nevada, where it's GOP caucus day tomorrow. Fox News Radio's Jessica Rosenthal live in Las Vegas.
Lisa, what little polling we do have here has Donald Trump on top by a lot. But that has not stopped Marco Rubio or Ted Cruz from fighting for votes here and delegates. Rubio spent time growing up in Vegas as a child and reminded voters of his family's humble roots.
The first words my father literally learned in English was, "I'm looking for a job." One of the reasons why I always love coming to Las Vegas is it reminds me that it was here that I learned a lot of what I know about the American dream.
Now, Cruz is holding events across the state, but mostly in the more rural counties up north. And Trump is holding an event here tonight where thousands are expected, Lisa.
Thanks, Jessica. There's late word of a new ceasefire plan for Syria between the U.S. and Russia. Fox News Radio's Jessica Gallagher, live in our Mideast Bureau.
Lisa, Washington says the U.S. and Moscow have agreed on a plan to create a ceasefire in war-torn Syria that starts Saturday. U.S. officials say both sides have agreed to terms and conditions for what's being called a cessation of hostilities. The truce exclude attacks by Syria's al-Qaeda local affiliate and ISIS. A cessation of hostilities was agreed to earlier this month by Washington and Moscow, but has yet to happen. An announcement is expected after President Obama and Russian President Vladimir Putin talk about the issue over the phone. Lisa.
Thanks, Jessica. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Are you living with prostate enlargement? Do you pee more often than you used to? Do you wake up to go? Be honest. Is there a drop in your romantic life? Prostate problems don't go away on their own, so you need to call for a free bottle of Super Beta Prostate, the #1 non-prescription formula for your prostate. The ingredients are natural. With Super Beta Prostate, you'll have less urges to urinate, less waking at night, and an improvement in your romantic life, guaranteed. Try it for free. Pay only shipping and handling. Call 1-800-890-2051. Super Beta Prostate is so powerful, you'd have to take 100 saw palmetto capsules to get the same active ingredient in just one Super Beta Prostate tablet. Stop running to the bathroom and call us now for your free bottle. Hurry, this free offer won't last. Call 1-800-890-2051. 1-800-890-2051. 1-800-890-2051.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Deb Carson.
Well, it's never fun to finish second, especially when you have the lead, but get edged out by 1/100th of a second. That's what happened to Martin Truex Jr. yesterday when Denny Hamlin took the checkered flag, edging Truex out at the Daytona 500.
Just going to have to watch that on the highlight reel for the rest of my career, I suppose, the rest of my life, because, I remember when it happened to Mark Martin. Poor guy, had been so close here so many times, and, they still show that highlight. The picture of that race is in the tunnel when you come in, in turn one, and I have a feeling I'm going to have to see that same thing for a long time. So it hurts a little bit, but a lot to be proud of for sure.
Well, in golf, Bubba Watson won the Northern Trust Open at Riviera by a stroke. NBA, a franchise record and a personal best for Anthony Davis of the Pelicans. Davis scored a career-high 59 points, 20 rebounds as the Pelicans beat the Pistons 111-106, while 6th-ranked Maryland beat Michigan 86-82.
Are you putting your money into an IRA, pension, or 401k? Then I hope you're prepared to lose 30, 40, 50% or more of your retirement savings, because it's not a question of if the market crashes again. It's a question of when. It's going to happen. Did you know there is a way you can protect and grow your wealth safely and predictably every single year? The people using this approach didn't lose a penny when the market crashed in 2000 or 2008, and they won't lose a penny in the next crash. In fact, their money will continue to grow safely year in and year out, even when stocks, real estate, and other investments tumble. A free report detailing this savings program is now available. This free report shows how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and wealth-building power without risking your retirement in the Wall Street casino. This is the best way to have a 100% secure retirement. It far outperforms any IRA or 401k. To get this free report, visit bankonyourself.com. That's bankonyourself.com. Bankonyourself.com.
Business owners, get ready for the spring season. Focus attention on your products and services with our famous radio auction set for March 12th. You'll get valuable on-air promotion, plus the full value of your items in advertising just when you need it. The auction is an easy way to get your message and product into the hands of the hundreds of thousands of listeners our stations promote to each and every day. To participate, call 284-3600. That's 284-3600. And ask for our sales staff for help. That's the radio auction, live March 12th.
At home and around the world, KPNW is there covering the news that's important to you. Your 24-hour news, weather, and information station. News Radio 1120, KPNW. It's 9:06 and time for Rush. Rush Limbaugh on News Radio 1120, KPNW.
I have something here, ladies and gentlemen, I'm holding in my formerly nicotine-stained fingers. It is from the archives of RushLimbaugh.com. I mean, my website. December 2nd, 2014. But about 14 months ago. Jeb Bush. To win presidency, you have to run against the base. We have here, greetings, my friends, and welcome, Rush Limbaugh, almost hyperventilating right now. There is so much to try to squeeze into 3 hours today, and I don't think I could do it all justice. I mean, I could squeeze it all in, but some of it would just be scant few seconds of mention just to qualify that I talked about it. There is so much roiling out there and so much effervescing out there. So just hang in there. We'll get to every bit of it we can. It's why the program is 3 hours long. 800-282-2882 if you want to be on the program. We'll be talking to you, of course, as the program unfolds. The mother of all see I told you so moments. By the way, there are two postmortems today on the Jeb Bush campaign and what went wrong with it. One's in the Washington Post. It prints out to 7 pages. There's another one in the Politico. It prints out to 5 pages. Both of them pretty much say the same thing. And if I could synthesize it, if I had to synthesize it down, it would be the Republican establishment and the establishment consultants class raised over $100 million, believing in an old paradigm that all it took was money. The message, that could come later. The candidate, yeah, that was somewhat important, but we can't use his last name. They went into this knowing that there was fatigue in the population for the Bush family and fatigue for the Clinton name as well, in terms of Republican vote, and they did it anyway. And they went out and they raised over $100 million for the super PAC and whatever they raised for the campaign itself. And they've got zilch to show for it. And as these people are quoted in interviews, it sounds like they're from the Stone Age. This is the establishment. These are the people with access to all the donors. These are the people who could put their hands on that kind of money, and they had no idea what to do with it. They had no idea what they were doing, all the while thinking they were the only ones who knew what they were doing. And neither of these pieces are hit pieces per se. I mean, they're mostly retrospectives and postmortems, and both contain highlights I want to share with you. But here it is, December 2014, from my website. We have a Jeb Bush audio soundbite. I said, let's see. It's last night in Washington, the Wall Street Journal CEO Council. It's an invitation-only event featuring some of the nation's most powerful CEOs. Former Florida Governor Jeb Bush spoke, and this is what he said. Remember this? I don't have the soundbite. I'm going to quote what he said. I don't know if I would be a good candidate or a bad one. I kind of know how a Republican can win, whether it's me or somebody else. And it has to be much more uplifting, much more positive, much more willing to, to be practical now in Washington. Lose the primary to win the general without violating your principles. And there it was. Lose the primary to win the general. So we embarked on a crusade to define that. And it didn't take long. We all figured out what it meant because eventually they said so. They wanted to win the Republican primary for Jeb Bush without securing a majority of votes support from the base, i.e., the conservative grassroots of the party. They set out to do that, and they thought they could do it with money. They thought they could do it with money, strategy, and message. But both of these postmortems make it clear that even before they started, they had polling data that told them not to do Jeb Bush. There was nothing personally against Jeb that anybody had. It's just the Republican base was tired and wanted to move on from Bushes. They knew this. They had every bit of polling data they could have had that told them, don't do this, don't go into it, don't start raising the money, you're going to waste it, and they did it anyway. And what becomes perfectly clear is that a bunch of people were in this for themselves, and how out of touch they are and were within their own party and where the country is headed. Nothing that you don't know. So I'm not saying this is earth-shattering stuff, except that it kind of is when you see the depths to which everything was misunderstood, miscalculated, or actively known and nevertheless stubbornly fought against to absolutely no avail. So Jeb Bush is out. And this is creating an entirely new paradigm. Now, folks, I went through a lot of mainstream media over the weekend and this morning. And there's a theme out there. And you might have heard it bandied about in any number of places. You've heard it bandied about in the Republican establishment. You've heard it bandied about in the campaign, certain sectors. You've heard media people talk about it. And that is that Donald Trump cannot win a general election. He just can't. Why, his negatives are way too high. It would be the absolute worst thing the Republican Party could do. Who's telling us this? Once again, our quote-unquote friends on the left. I went through story after story after story of how scared to death they are of Trump. A Harvard professor actually has a piece today on this is how Hitler did it. Donald Trump is Adolf Hitler. The United States is about to become Nazi Germany while nobody is looking. This is how it happened, she says. She's a professor at Harvard, and any number of other left-wing rags, websites, papers, you name it. For somebody or a group of people who think that beating Trump would be one of the easiest things they've ever had to do, they sure as heck are scared of him. And once again, the two don't go together. If you really think Trump is easy, if you really think beating Trump is the best option you could have if you're a Democrat, then wouldn't you want to be promoting him? Wouldn't you want to be talking positively? Wouldn't you be trying to secure his primary victory and nomination on the Republican side? I mean, the people writing this caustic stuff about Trump, I mean, there's some on the right, as you know, the mainstream Republicans, but I'm talking specifically now about people on the left who they're never going to vote for Trump. Why spend all this energy on how rotten and dangerous Trump is? Well, no, there are possible answers. These are all establishment people. Trump's an outsider, doesn't matter. Republican, Democrat, they don't like outsiders. They got to trash anybody trying to upset their world. That's understandable. But I think this is more than that. I think there's a genuine fear out there that Trump can win. I think there's a genuine fear, at least that's what I'm interpreting here, that he can beat Hillary Clinton. And furthermore, I think that these people think that about Marco Rubio, too. And I believe they think it about Ted Cruz. I think they believe Hillary Clinton is vulnerable. Which would take us into an entire discussion of what happened in Nevada over the weekend. Memo to Bernie Sanders. As far as the Democrat National Committee is concerned, you are still a bum. And Bernie, it's over. Even Hillary is running around out there now saying we have to be we have to be more than just what we're going to give people. Grab audio soundbite number 20, Saturday night, Las Vegas, at Clinton campaign headquarters. Hillary addressing supporters after winning the Nevada caucuses.
I want you to think about this. It can't be just about what we're going to give to you. It has to be about what we're going to build together. Your generation is the most tolerant and connected our country has ever seen. In the days ahead, we will propose new ways for more Americans to get involved in national service and give back to our communities, because every one of us has a role to play in building the future we want.
Whoa. Bernie voters don't want to hear any of that. young millennials, they don't want to hear, what do you mean community service? What do you mean national service? What do you mean giving back? We want to know what you're going to give us. That's why we like Bernie. And Hillary's telling them there is no Santa Claus, even on the Democrat side. Also, folks, on this Apple and the Department of Justice and the FBI, you believe how big this has gotten? You know, people make fun of me, both here at the EIB network and in my personal life. They make fun of me over my passion for these devices, which is okay. People have made fun of me my whole life. They make fun of the fact that I really like them. They make fun of the fact that I'm an expert in these things. I've had people over the weekend sending me questions, comments about this argument between Apple and the FBI, what it means, terrorist phone. I've taken a lot of time to try to answer in great detail. I have expressed and tried to correct incorrect assumptions that people have. You know, it's amazing to me. Do you trust this government, folks? I don't. I don't trust the Obama administration. I never have trusted it. I don't trust it now. I won't trust it in the future. And most of you don't either. Most of you are very suspicious of it, and rightly so. You should be. This is an administration that doesn't really care about the Constitution much. It's trying to transform the country, erase or harm much and many of the things which have defined the greatness. And yet when this episode comes along, everybody's all in for the government. Why? Because there's a terrorist involved. Yep, a terrorist phone. And so everybody throws or casts aside their distrust, their justified distrust, and throws all in because this phone belonged to a terrorist. To properly understand this situation, if you really want to know what this is about, you have to forget what kind of phone this is. iPhone 5C, 5S, 6S, 6 Plus, forget it, it doesn't matter. You have to forget that a terrorist was involved, because that's not what this is really all about. You have to focus on one thing. Have you learned through all of this? Do you now realize, despite how many of you have been running around thinking that the NSA can track your every move, they can listen to every conversation, they can maybe even turn on your microphone or camera on your phone and monitor what you're saying because your life is so exciting, people at the NSA can't stop tracking you. Now, all of a sudden, you're learning the government cannot hack your phone. You have learned they cannot get into your phone. Do you want them to be able to? It's no more complicated than that. If you want them to be able to get into your phone, then support the FBI. Tell Apple to shut up and go away. But this is even more frustrating than that because of what we learned over the weekend. The terrorist's phone was not owned by the terrorist. Mr. Saeed Farouk Skyhook did not own his phone. San Bernardino County owned the phone. And it really, I don't mean to sound uppity or braggadocious here. I am fascinated by this tech because of how intricate and in many ways miraculous it is. I have spent a lot of time learning how to use these devices and learning what they're capable of and how they might help me with my enjoyment of life, my productivity in life, workflows, and I want to know as much about them as I can. Most people don't, understandably. But here's the thing. Do you know that over the weekend we learned the FBI told San Bernardino to change the password on this phone? They thought that they would be able to find out information if they changed not the password, the Apple ID password. It's an absolute mess. Nobody knows what's going on or how to use these things. Here's the bottom line as I'm coming up to it on a break. Since San Bernardino County owned the phone, they could have had total control over it. If you are a business right now and you deploy iPhones, and I'm going to stick with iPhones in this case because that's what I know, but it's true of any others. If you're a small business, a corporation, and you provide phones for your employees and you own those phones, there is something called digital device management. It is software that allows you to control everything on their phone. You can put restrictions on what they can do with it. You can put restrictions on which apps work and which apps won't. In other words, you can stop them from using the phone personally. In addition to that, you, because you own the phone, have the ability to erase it at any time and find out what's on it. You can reset the passcode yourself as the owner of the phone. You can do it with 4 clicks. If the people in San Bernardino County had ever taken the time to find out what they could do with the phones that they were giving to employees, if they had just taken the time to have somebody come in and teach them, we wouldn't be here. Because there already is a way for the FBI in San Bernardino to get what they want in the circumstance where somebody's using a phone owned by a business. Digital device management. It's software. It's on servers. It costs about $4 per phone. And you have your IT manager research it and learn how to operate it. And you control and manage every phone that you deploy remotely. You don't have to have it in your possession to set up these restrictions. It just has to be signed in to the proper ID, Apple ID, and whatever other identification systems a company uses. And there is a specific opportunity for owners of phones in this, like San Bernardino County. They could have gone in the moment this incident happened. They could have locked Farouk and whoever out of the phone, anybody else, and only allowed themselves in. They could have gone in. They could have gotten every bit of data they wanted off that phone via a backup or a dump. They could have changed the password themselves. They could have done any number of these things. But they didn't know they could. They had no idea. And I'll wager that 95% of companies or organizations that give away phones to, or provide them for businesses have no clue about any of this. Anyway, sit tight, folks. We've just begun to set the table. We will continue in mere moments after this.
The center of the radio universe. Rush on the EIB network.
Folks, if you don't file a tax return, the IRS will estimate what you owe. Look at Maurice and Louise. Their retirement was upended when Maurice developed chronic heart problems. They didn't file taxes for 10 years. The IRS estimated their income and then billed them incorrectly for over $1 million. Tax Defense Partners reduced that. They reduced their debt by almost 90%. Hire Tax Defense Partners, and you too can permanently solve your tax problem. Call today. Get a free year of audit protection in case your 2015 return is questioned or some fraudster steals your tax refund. That's a $4,500 value in potential professional service fees. Call Tax Defense Partners now, 888-869-7777. Solve your tax problems permanently and get free audit protection for your 2015 return. Tax Defense Partners, 888-869-7777.
Well, hello, everyone. This is Dr. James Dobson. As private citizens, my wife Shirley and I urge you to rally around Ted Cruz for president. Other Republicans are certainly worthy of consideration, but at this point, it looks like a vote for anyone other than Ted Cruz is a vote for Donald Trump. For people of faith who care about religious liberty, life, and marriage, it's time for us to rally around Ted Cruz. Senator Cruz has the intelligence, the courage, the grasp of domestic and world affairs, and the solid foundation of faith and family to stand firmly in support of our conservative values. That's my take on it. This is James Dobson.
Paid for by Keep the Promise and not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. KeepThePromise.com. Keep the Promise is responsible for the content of this advertising.
In partnership with Food for Lane County, St. Vincent de Paul distributes more than 15,000 food boxes each year, making us the area's largest distributor of food to our neighbors in need. So when we say at St. Vincent de Paul you can have some fun, save some money, and do something nice for your neighbors, we really mean it. St. Vincent de Paul, serving Lane County since 1954. St. Vincent de Paul, we're in the phone book. This message is sponsored by St. Vincent de Paul in association with Eugene area radio stations. Ears.
Whether it's new or recycled office furniture, Oregon's most respected office furniture dealer is Office Furniture Direct in Portland, selling furniture throughout the state. Office Furniture Direct has clients up and down I-5 and is making trips into Eugene every month and can be your source for the best price and finest installation. Save money on quality office furniture at Office Furniture Direct at ofd-pdx.com.
Your plan is to make the most out of life. That's why your plan is a Medicare Advantage plan from Pacific Source. It lets you choose from almost any doctor in the region with no deductible. Plus, you get great benefits like prescription drug coverage, protection when you travel, optional dental care, and even discounts on gym memberships. Plans start as low as $39. Pacific Source Medicare, the health plan for all of life's biggest plans. To learn more about our Medicare Advantage plans, call toll-free 888-863-3637, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week. Visit us online at www.medicare.pacificsource.com. Premium and benefits may change on January 1st of each year. You must continue to pay your Medicare Part B premium. The provider network may change at any time. Members will receive notice when necessary. Pacific Source Community Health Plans is an HMO PPO plan with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in Pacific Source Medicare depends on contract renewal.
With news every half hour and when it breaks. And Rush now. 1120 KPNW.
I misspoke. I didn't mean DDM. I meant MDM, mobile device management. And in the case of Apple, it's free. Other software, $4 a phone is what it averages out. But with OS X Server, which is simply what you would need, it's an app. It's a server operating system. You can deploy. All you have to do is set up the profiles for the phones that you want that are under your management. This is why you have an IT guy. It's why you hire one. Most people are not going to take the time to learn this, so hire an IT guy. IT guy does this, manages all the devices. But the point is, in a situation like this, or any disgruntled employee, or any circumstance where you, the employer, need to find out what's on your employee's phone, guess what? Because of mobile device software, there already is a legal backdoor on every phone under mobile device management. Apple doesn't need to add anything, and the FBI doesn't need to have Apple rewrite software for all of us, because what they want exists in a large number of circumstances and did exist in this San Bernardino situation. But I'm sure the people at San Bernardino were clueless and had no idea. They even confused the passcode to unlock the phone and the password for the Apple ID connecting the phone to iCloud. They got confused over that. They literally had no idea what they were doing. It's stunning what they did not know.
From the KPNW News Center, here's what's going on. The Lynn County Sheriff's Office has arrested Ivan Page of Halsey for several sexual abuse-related crimes. Page went into the Lynn County Sheriff's Office on his own over the weekend, requesting to talk to a deputy about his alleged crimes. He told investigators he sexually abused 4 underage girls over the course of several years. A bill headed to the governor will allow Oregon breweries to expand their operations. It allows them to directly sell beer, wine, and cider, even from other producers. Amanda Hess with Ninkasi says that'll help the industry grow.
We really believe that Oregon is a bastion for really great craft beer, in large part because of the laws that the Oregon legislature has passed to help brewers succeed.
Brewers will be able to sell through third-party distributors while also selling a wider selection at their brewing locations. And the Pacific Northwest could be a major hub for methanol production if 3 proposed refineries are built along the Columbia River and Puget Sound. A China-backed consortium, which has proposed 2 plants in Washington and a third in Oregon to convert natural gas to methanol, which would be shipped to China to make plastics. Bill London, KPNW.
If you need to sell your home, listen up. Lars here to tell you about a real estate agent right in Lane County that takes the stress out of selling a home. I'm talking about Jeremy Parmenter of Keller Williams Realty. Jeremy has a marketing system for selling homes on a whole different level than anyone you're going to talk to in Lane County. Jeremy works with the top real estate developer in Oregon, and week after week, Jeremy attracts hundreds of buyers, which creates demand and helps your home sell fast and for top dollar. That's why Jeremy offers a home sale guarantee. If Jeremy can't sell your home at a price and deadline you agreed to, he'll buy it. Plus, it's risk-free. If he isn't doing his job after one day, you can fire him. But don't worry, you won't, because he outsells the average agent 8-1. If I needed to sell my home and lived in Lane County, I'd call up Jeremy. Call Jeremy today at 541-255-5685. That's 541-255-5685. And start packing.
What do you call a certified pre-owned BMW? The ultimate driving machine. And now, with select certified pre-owned BMWs, you'll receive 1 year of complimentary maintenance, ensuring the ultimate driving machine stays that way. Visit your local BMW center today to enjoy legendary performance for less than you think. BMW, the ultimate driving machine. Offer valid through February 29, 2016. Some restrictions may apply. Visit bmwusa.com/CPO special offers for details.
Financing and leasing available by BMW Financial Services. Visit BMW of Eugene, also online at bmwofeugene.com.
Not available in California. Here's a great idea for a business. Health food in vending machines. Who doesn't want healthier choices? Imagine the money you could make. Well, guess what? The guys at Fresh Healthy Vending have already thought of it, which explains why they're the #1 healthy vending franchise, with thousands of franchisee-owned vending machines offering people what they want most, healthier snacks. Could you be our next new franchisee? Because we've identified high-traffic locations and have machines ready to be installed in your community, this is your chance for full or part-time income. Most of our franchisees work fewer than 15 hours a week, and many are so impressed with the money they're making that they've added even more machines to their business. And we do all the work for you. We procure high-foot traffic locations, train you, install your machines, and deliver thousands of best-selling natural, organic, and healthy snacks and drinks nationwide. So go to readyforfresh.com right now. Type in promo code 5151 and receive an immediate 50% savings on franchise fees. That's right, we'll pay half of new franchisees' fees. That's promo code 5151. Again, readyforfresh.com 5151.
When I have an asthma attack, I feel scared. I feel like I'm choking.
Prevent your child's next asthma attack. Visit www.noattacks.org or call your doctor, because even one attack is one too many.
I feel like a fish with no water.
Brought to you by the EPA and the Ad Council.
Depend on us. News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Think you know.
And we're back. Great to have you on the Excellence in Broadcasting Network, El Rushbo. We'll get back to this Apple FBI security encryption debate as the program unfolds. Of course, we're moving forward now on the Republican presidential primary. I think the Democrat thing is over, folks. It never really got started. You understand, Bernie Sanders was never going to win the nomination. He was never going to be permitted to win the nomination. Now, what kind of fallout there is on the Democrat side when Bernie's voters figure that out? They don't know that yet. Bernie's voters think he's still in this. They're starting to get the picture because they see how the superdelegates are being allotted. Nevada was Hillary's first real win, but it took shenanigans for this to happen. It took Harry Reid paying off the unions. It took Harry Reid paying off the unions to prevent caucusing in the casinos. Hillary Clinton has, with her vast fortune, helped Debbie Blabbermouth Schultz and the Democrat National Committee out of some debt. So the game is in. It's rigged. It's fixed. And Bernie has always been there, primarily as a foil, although Bernie doesn't know it. But Bernie has been there to create the illusion that Hillary can overcome a tough fight, that she can engage in a tough fight, that she can survive and thrive, that she's not worried about people coming at her, that she's not in a coronation, that she's prepared to roll up her sleeves and start duking it out with anybody. Bernie Sanders, she doesn't care who else. And then Bernie's going to be properly vanquished, and people are going to say, see, this woman is not to be trifled with. Bernie has been a foil all along, and he is now. Now, the foil may have gotten out of control. Bernie might have been doing a little bit better than they intended for him to do. But he was never going to get the Democrat nomination, and he's not going to get it now. All the actions on the Republican side, and the establishment is in a full-fledged panic. I mentioned last week and the week before and the week before that the establishment, whoever they are, but pretty much everybody opposed to Cruz and Trump, still is of the belief, and they were going into the weekend, that Trump's going to implode. Or something else. Something's going to happen and Trump's going to get out. It's the most amazing state of denial that I have seen. It has what has propelled them. They spent $100 million on the Bush camp. Against who? Against Trump? Trump's out getting free media. Do you realize everything's been tossed upside down here? Money is the mother's milk of politics. Here are all these other candidates trying to raise a few bucks here and a few bucks there to buy a couple of ads that might run on TV. Meanwhile, Donald Trump picks up the phone from Trump Tower and gets 10 minutes whenever he wants it on any network. And if he wants to go down the escalator where they have the camera set up in front of the waterfall, he can appear on camera whenever he wants. Realize the value of all the media time Trump is getting that he's not paying for? Yet everybody else is out there trying to raise it, dime by dime, dollar by dollar, go out and buy ads and so forth. It's amazing. And on the establishment side, they believed that's all it was going to take. $100 million, and not a penny of it spent running against Democrats. How wasteful is that? Well, I know it's primary. The opponents right now are Republicans, but part of winning this thing is what you're going to do. How you're going to stop the people that put it in this mess, and that's the Democrats. And the Jeb campaign didn't even think to go there. It's mind-boggling to have that kind of money, and after all of this, nothing to show for it. And I'm reading stories where now they're going to hit up the same donors for Rubio. How much money do these people have left? How much do they have left that they actually want to spend? The same people that asked them for money for Jeb are now asking for money for Marco. The same people who've demonstrated they don't know how to spend it. Who've demonstrated they may not even be on the same playing field that Trump is on. They're being guided by tradition and age-old theory and policy, which has obviously surpassed them. And it has surpassed them simply because they appeared to be arrogant toward their own grassroots voters. Jeb Bush, December 2014, to win the presidency, you have to run against the base. You have to lose the primary to win the general. This never had a chance. But they thought it was brilliant. They thought this new technique was going to shock and awe everybody and sneak up on them and do an end run to the nomination without the support of the base. And when you get down to it, they never got above 4 or 5 points where it mattered. So now it's Panic City. Now what do? Well, now they got to coalesce around somebody. Now you've got people, Lindsey Graham's out there saying, you know what we need? We need a Rubio Kasich ticket. That's what we need. Right. You need a Rubio Kasich ticket. I'm sorry, you still don't have the answers. But they don't have the answers because they continue to live in denial. They still don't think that what's happening is happening. Let me amend that. What they don't believe that what's happening is real. They really don't. They still think Trump is not going to finish this. Somehow, some way, he's going to really he's going to really say something that's it. No more support, no more tolerance, and he's going to be gone. Or that some miracle is going to happen, and he's going to come along and get snookered and schlonged by the other candidates. So what I think they're really doing right now is planning how they are going to upend all of these results once they get to Cleveland and the convention. I would wager that the brain trust of the Republican establishment is even now trying to figure out how they can send this thing into a brokered convention, how they can come up with a way to basically ignore all the rules they wrote for this campaign, for this primary season, and this convention, and throw it open so that they, once again, the power brokers, can secure what they want in defiance of what the grassroots has expressed here. I mean, if I were them, that's what I would do. They obviously can't let go. They don't want to let go. This is their party. This is their establishment. This is their power base. This is their livelihood. This is their future. This is their standard of living. And this upstart here that they don't even think is a Republican to come along and shake all the hell, they're just going to sit by and let this happen. They've proven they don't know how to stop it. They've proven they don't know what they're up against. They've proven they do not have the slightest idea. And this has got to be a shock to them. They thought they're the experts, folks. They thought they were the only ones who knew how to do something like this, win a nomination for the presidency. They had all the power. They had all the money. They had all the inside games. They had all the tactics. They had all the power. They had the ability to pull the levers and maneuver this however they wanted, and nothing they did got them over 4 or 5 points. You look at the exit polling data coming out of South Carolina and some of the predictive polling for the future, the AP here, and you can just sense the disappointment. As this was written, a new AP poll finds registered Republicans and Republican-leaning voters put Trump at the top of the GOP field when it comes to which candidate best fits with their stand on the issues. They give Trump the best marks for competence and decisiveness. Far more Republicans than not say they would vote for Trump in the general election. 86% of Republican voters believe he can win in November. That gives him a 15 percentage point advantage over his nearest rival. Now, the conventional wisdom is that Trump can't win. His negatives are too high. It'd be an embarrassing landslide loss for the Republicans if Trump... It's over. Hillary will mop the floor. But 86% of Republican voters think he can win. And based on my reading of the drive-by media yesterday and today, they're scared to death he can win. While they write that he can't. While they write that he has no chance. While they write that he is the modern incarnation of Adolf Hitler. While they write that he would blow up the Constitution and do great damage to the country, and while they write that his supporters are clueless and do not even know who they're really supporting, they say there's no chance he can win. Well, then encourage him to go forward. If you're the Democrats and you're scared to death of this guy and you don't want him to win and you don't believe he can, if you think that he is guaranteed to lose in a landslide, why don't you people on the left start encouraging every Republican primary voter to support him? Why not run the trick? Why not do the trick? If Trump is your guaranteed route to Hillary Clinton becoming president, why don't you promote him instead of writing all these pieces why you're so afraid of him? And why everybody else should be afraid of him. Predictions of Trump's inevitable political demise have arrived almost daily. This is back to the AP story. Since the brash real estate mogul jumped into the White House race. They came again after last weekend's Republican debate when Trump aggressively went after Bush as president. They've concluded here at his comments on Bush, on 9/11, weapons of mass destruction, and none of that hurt him. They don't believe it. They can't understand it. They thought he would be finished after his introductory remarks back on the 16th of June. Meanwhile, in South Carolina, the Republican turnout was yet another record. The real news is Democrat turnout so far, wherever you go, the Iowa caucuses, New Hampshire, Nevada, Democrat turnout, you need a microscope to see it. It is that small. Republican turnout. Republican voters shattering South Carolina primary record Saturday night with almost all precincts reporting. 737,000 votes had been counted, 20% higher than 2012. By contrast, a Democrat turnout has tumbled from its 2008 records in all three contests, including Saturday in Nevada. 80,000 voters took place in Nevada, 33% fewer than in 2008. So to sum it up, Republican primary, South Carolina beat their previous record by 20%. The Democrat turnout was down by a third. Safe to say, Republican base is fired up. Despite the establishment's best efforts, the Republican base is fired up. And there were some crossover voters. Yes, I'm watching the clock. Stick with me here. In South Carolina, 24% of South Carolina primary voters were not Republican. So basically, 1/4 of those who voted Saturday for the Republican were not Republicans. Of that 24%, Trump got 33% of them. Rubio got 19%. Ted Cruz got 17%.
The courage to fight and the talent to succeed. Rush on the EIB network.